Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 118 of the Co-op Podcast. We have a full house today. I'm your host, Richard Bailey Jr., and I'm joined by Mr. Gary A. Swavey. How's it going, Gary?
What's good, everybody? It's going good. What's up with you, Rich?
Well, I'm just chilling. You know, starting to get hot, so getting ready for the summertime. Next up, we have Mr. Charles Singletary. How's it going, Charles?
It's going well. Glad to be here. Hello, everyone.
Yes, glad to have everybody. We also have Mr. Jake James Lugo. How you doing, Mr. Lugo?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to talk about some more games. E3's right around the corner. I'm excited.
That's right. That's right. We're definitely going to get into E3 as well today. We're also joined by Mr. Michael A. How's it going, Mike?
Yeah, how are you people doing out there, man? I'm doing well. I'm going well. Can't complain much.
That's good. And we may have some, we may or may not have Mr. Anthony Frazier. He will be jumping in and out because I know he was busy right at the moment. But yeah, Anthony, if you got a moment, you can say what's up. If not, you can say what's up later on. So, yeah, we got a lot to discuss today because a lot went down this week. But before we do that, I want to find out what everybody has been playing. So, Gary, how about you tell us first what you've been playing?
Yeah, it's been a busy week, so the only two games that I've been playing are Mortal Kombat X, of course. I'm getting better at that. You know, I managed to beat Carl Daniel a couple times on there, so I'm happy about that because he's just amazing at that game. But yeah, I mean, I find whenever I play a match online now, I can usually beat the person pretty easily. So I think I'm getting a lot better in that game. So I'm proud of that. And secondly, you know, I streamed it last night as well, but I've been playing Final Fantasy X HD remaster for the PS4. I played this last year on the PS3, and of course I played it, you know, when it originally came out on the PS2. But I had to buy it again just because, you know, Final Fantasy is the one game where I'll buy any remaster that they put out. And I don't care. And I know Charles is giving me that face right now, but, you know, that's just how it is, man. That game is a classic.
Excuse me, I have to ask a quick question. Did this game not come out on PC yet, or what is the deal with that?
No, it's probably going to come on PC next, and then I'll buy it again.
Yeah, see, so they
You
got
gotta
you,
be kidding
got
me.
you, yeah, they got
Four
you
times.
all the way
Four
around.
times.
Yeah.
Four.
The game is a classic.
You are the problem, Gary.
No additional content. No additional nothing.
There is
Four times,
additional
though.
content. This time around, they allow you to switch the soundtrack from the remastered version or the original. You couldn't do that.
Can you do that on your own just by playing in the background?
Mm-hmm. Like,
Who does that, though?
click.
Who plays a soundtrack from iTunes over gameplay? Like, why would you do that?
Me, all the time when I'm playing on PC.
But not for a game like this. This is a story-driven game. Like, the music has to come in at the perfect time.
Four times, Gary, though? 4 times.
Hey, man, Final Fantasy is my weakness, man.
But Gary,
Something like that.
Gary, what are you going to do differently now?
There's loads of different ways you can play the game. Like, people have played the game leveling up only one character. You know, I still haven't completed the game 100% yet to this day, so I can try and do that.
You
I
know
can try
why?
and beat all the Dark Aeons. You know, there's so many different things I can do in the game still.
You know why you haven't reached 100% yet?
Why?
Because you keep buying the new version when it come out.
No, also, here's the funniest part about that. Cross-save amongst all platforms. Boom. Gary's good.
Yep.
PC too? Because if you go on PC, you're going to be screwed.
No, PC probably going to get mods, I bet you. Watch, they're going to be those Spiro mods.
Yeah, well, you know,
That'd be hilarious.
you know, I was intrigued to get the game. I haven't gotten it yet, but maybe we'll see what happens. I don't have the time to play this game now that The Witcher 3 is coming out, so, but it's all good.
I'll make a note to get it for you for Christmas, man, because I know you want to get into Final Fantasy, and this is the perfect game to start with to get into the Final Fantasy series. So.
Okay, well, we'll see if anyone else will debate that on this particular show.
Did he say Final Fantasy X is the perfect. You know what? I'll just do that one.
wanted to dive
Wait, you
into
disagree with that?
For our first Final Fantasy game, I think it's pretty good. I think that it gets away from a lot of like the hype around, a lot of people just jumping on the bandwagon that is Final Fantasy VII and such. As far as if you want to know what the series does good, as far as like just a ground level point to kind of allow you to explore other like titles in the series, I think 10 is a good one to start with.
I have a different perspective on that. I would suggest, because with knowing Gary, he's going to suggest that a person that hadn't played Final Fantasy play this. Go ahead and play Final Fantasy 13 first, so you can play that and get that shit out of the way, and then you'll see how amazing the other stuff actually is. I think that'd be a smart way to go.
I think they do that, they're never going to want to come back.
Final Fantasy 13 isn't bad though. I mean, that's an okay starting point as well.
Final Fantasy 13 is very.
Let's be real. Final
Fantasy
Fantasy 13 is pretty terrible.
No, it's not terrible. If you compare it to the previous Final Fantasy games, yeah, it lacks. But as its own, if you're able to look at it on its own, as a standalone product, then it's a good game.
Because if you look at it on its own, you can't tell all the stuff that is missing. I feel you.
As a Final Fantasy fanatic, I'm telling you right now, Final Fantasy 13 is probably one of the worst Final Fantasy games ever to grace that franchise, hands down.
I mean, yeah, you could say it's one of the worst, but I mean, it's a great series overall.
I just want to
being
ask.
Worst isn't a bad thing.
So I need to ask a quick question before we go completely off course, and then we'll get back on track. So when they re-release Final Fantasy 13 on PlayStation 4, will you also be picking that up for a second time?
Yeah, nope. I hope they release the whole trilogy on there. I'm gonna buy it all again, and I already own those games on Steam already, but I'll buy them again on PS4.
Okay, well, I got respect for you, Gary, but you lost a little bit of my respect with that last comment. So what else have you been playing? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so let me just go ahead real quick, then I'm going to let everybody else go. Of course, I've been playing Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. My review is on the website right now. Listen, if you played Wolfenstein: The New Order, this game is great as a standalone. Obviously, the story is not quite as compelling as it is with the other game because there's a lot more of it. At the same time, this game it lasts for about 8 chapters. It's about 6.5 hours of gameplay, so it's a lot for an expansion that only costs $20. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I have to keep saying again, Machine Game's first game was the New Order. So I cannot wait to see what they do next. I hope they are going to do another Wolfenstein because the way that the first game ends, they can make a sequel if they wanted to. But anybody who is a first-person shooter fan, I will highly recommend that you try out this game. Definitely try out the New Order, though, first, then you'll see what I said, that's the better game of the two. I'm not saying that Old Blood is not good, because there's new weapons, enemy types, and stuff in the game as well, but I'm just saying, if you was to compare both, obviously the main game is where it's at. It's a much more, enriched storyline, so on and so forth. But that's pretty much all I've been playing because I'm getting ready for The Witcher 3 on Monday. Yeah, that's where all my time will go. So, how about you, Mr. Singletary? What have you been playing?
Looking at my Steam stuff, pretty much everything that I've been playing is on there right now. I got 24 hours in on The Witcher 2. I've been playing The Highlands, which the review for that will drop first thing on Monday. Playing Toxic, which is an early access kind of arena first-person shooter, Pillars of Eternity. I played a little bit of Torrent. I only got through the very opening sections of it. Sins of a Dark Age, which is a free MOBA that's come out. I did like one mission on there, tutorial. It wasn't too bad. And then me and David Jagno played Marvel Heroes 2015. Put almost 3 hours into that. That was a lot of fun. Like, I'd played the tutorial on that game, but I couldn't see myself playing it for a long time. But me and David just were like, hey, let's jump into it and see what it's about. And 3 hours later, we were very satisfied with the game. It's a whole lot of fun, especially for a free-to-play that actually doesn't put you behind a paywall to get to, deeper content. But that's all I've been playing, man.
It's cool. Yeah, you've been very busy with the games. There's a lot of games.
Yes, sir. And that Witcher 2, I got like 3 more days. I might be able to finish that bad boy before 3 comes out.
Oh yeah, I think you definitely will. So, Mr. Lugo, what have you been playing?
And I've been another busy bug as usual. So, a couple things happened. I did a review for a really bad game called Schrodinger's Cat and the Raiders of the Lost Quark. The game is horrible. The game is bad. Really, a lot of technical issues, a lot of problems on PlayStation 4. I don't know what the heck happened with that because apparently people were telling me that it was actually pretty good on the PC on Steam. But I don't know. Just from what I'm seeing there, that it's just whole bunch of stuff was wrong with that game. So I played that, and after dealing with that monstrosity, I decided to go over one of the streams that we were doing, play a little bit of Dragon Ball Xenoverse, for Xbox One at first. And that one, I kind of rage quit a little bit because, again, there was a lot of technical issues that I was dealing with on the stream. I don't know what was going on, whether maybe it was probably because it was the Xbox One version. But after I rage quit, I actually decided to go out and get a copy of the game on PlayStation 4 just to try it again, maybe respec my actual created character to see if I could get a little bit further on that game. Because, again, I'm a fan of DBZ, and I've heard a lot of good things, not only from Gary, who I think also did the review for Dragon Ball Xenoverse on the site, but also a couple other people that have said good things specifically about that game once you get knee-deep into it. So I'm going to retry that at some point. But also, in preparation for House of Wolves that's coming out this Tuesday, as of the time we're recording this, I've been playing a lot of Destiny. I actually did a little bit of some Destiny gameplay last night on the actual Koalition stream, and I had to kind of cut it short, for an emergency over here. But I've been kind of going in there, doing a lot of Crucible matches, doing a lot of different raids, a lot of patrol missions and strikes and stuff, all in preparation to kind of boost up my character to at least to the level cap, if possible, by the time that House of Wolves drops. And we got a lot of cool, neat stuff planned for that, both on the stream as well as on the site, so I can't wait for that. And then here and there, just been dabbling around with some of my portable games and other games that I've had, sitting on my console here and there. I've been going through and I finally finished one of the games I've been wanting to play for a long time and complete it, Dust and Elysian Tale. That already went onto my list of probably one of the best games I've ever played, and it was something I've been wanting to do for a while, and just the game was just amazing. I love the story. I love the artwork. Amazed that it was really I think it was one dude that really did the bulk of that work on that game, and they're even doing an actual movie called An Elysian Tale, which I'm really excited about. I can't wait to hear more about that. A lot of cool stuff for me, but overall, getting prepped up for Destiny this Tuesday. It's going to be fun.
Wait, I got a question about Destiny, actually.
Yeah.
See, on the PS4, it shows you the titles of all the games in your library and stuff. And, I saw that Destiny tile on mine, and, I got the itch to play again. But, I haven't played since, what was it, October, November or something. And, my character's level 27. I never even did the first raid. I don't have the DLC or anything. So I want to know, is it worth getting back into at this point? Or, will I have a lot to catch up with?
Well, spoken from experience now, since I'm me really deep into it, trying to do all this stuff and doing the dailies and the weeklies and stuff like that, I would say that I think at this point, to really kind of enjoy a lot of the later end game content, you're going to need to get the DLCs. I know for a fact, even today before we started recording, I was online, just doing a bunch of different stuff between the Crucible and then doing some of the actual strike missions, and I hooked up with a friend of ours, and they started doing the different random encounters and stuff, the events for House of Wolves, and the enemies on that are pretty much level 30 plus. They're all super powered up. They're really kind of catering to a lot of people that have really stuck out with the game for a long time. So even though it kind of sucks, it's worth getting into if you definitely want to put in the time towards it. But keep in mind, you're gonna have to put a lot of time into actually doing the dailies, doing the strikes, playing the Crucible, trying to get as many of the loot drops as you can. Now, they made, with the Dark Below, the expansion, and then even more so now with House of Wolves that's coming, they made it a little bit easier to not only level up a lot of your exotics and your legendary weapons that you get from different drops or that you purchase to make them even stronger and stuff, and then they make even some of the drops for items and even weapons and decryption stuff a little bit easier for you, but that doesn't take away from the amount of time that you're going to need to put into it. Because clearly, right now, I had to redo a different character because I originally had a character on Xbox One that was in the 20s, but then I started over again on PlayStation 4, and now I have him about 24, 25. and I'm still on the grind, just doing a bunch of stuff, trying to get all the equipment that I can to boost up my level cap, or at least up to the level cap that's currently right now. Because I think the new level cap is going to be 32. No, not 32. I'm sorry. I think it's like 34. If not, something like that. Something a little bit more higher than now when House of Wolves comes out. But in order to get to that point, you're going to need to put in a lot of time. So if you have the time to do so, I say dive into it. It's a lot of fun stuff. And also play with people. If you could get at least one or two other people to do it with you, as far as diving into the dailies, diving into the weeklies and the strikes and stuff, you'll have a lot more fun than going it alone.
Okay, well, we'll see about that because I don't have a lot of time anymore. But maybe I'll play it once or twice. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's fine, but again, if you really want to get the most out of the stuff that's coming out like this Tuesday, you're gonna need to put a lot more time than what you think.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so man, you guys have been real busy with games, making me, putting me to shame. So I got to step up my game playing productivity very soon. But sounds good. As for Destiny, I really don't like that decision for them to drop that the same day as Witcher 3, which is exactly why I will not be going back to Destiny. But that's just me. Mr. Michael A., what have you been playing?
Mainly I've been playing Smite, a lot of Smite on Xbox just because I was in the alpha or beta technically, I suppose now, the closed beta that they were doing. What's it called? Oh my god, I just forgot the name. I was literally just playing it before I went to sleep. Aramec Arena, thank you. I have that on Xbox and PS4, so I've been playing it on both. Mainly on Xbox because I got into that on 360, then they put it on next gen. But I've been playing the PS4 version now. It's basically the same game, so you guys aren't missing much if you haven't played it yet. So I'd say give it a chance. It's probably one of the best functioning RTSs on console, honestly. That's
what's that called again?
Aramec Arena.
All right, we don't talk about that.
Yeah. That's pretty much it on console, honestly. I got Mortal Kombat. My friend gave it to me because his PS4 broke, and Sony's not fixing it because it's like 2 weeks out of warranty. So he only plays on his Xbox until he gets a new one or whatever. I don't know when he's doing that. So he literally said, "Here, you can have it." He gave me Mortal Kombat 4 because he knew I wasn't going to buy it because my characters aren't in it. I played the story mode for that. Don't like the story mode as much as I like 9. It's still like the best story mode. It still, as a franchise, has the best story mode in all fighting games by far. Like, it's not even a contest, but just in terms of the story mode as its own caliber, it's not as good in 10 as it was in 9. But I mean, some of the characters look cool. It's a very beautiful game. The animations are clean. I don't really have too much I can complain about with it, honestly. I don't know if I'm gonna go deep into it. I've only been in the lab with the game for like 3 or 4 hours total. Like that's it. Outside of that, mainly 3DS games. Trying to finish my Lunatic Plus run on Fire Emblem, which is no damn joke. Shinigami Tensei, I still need to finish that. That's no joke. And I've been playing the hell out of Project Cross Zone again, just because that game is fun. And I'm looking into. Still need to get Codename Steam. I still need to go pick that up. I haven't gotten it yet, so that's about it, really.
There's a sequel to Project Cross Zone coming.
Oh yeah, I'm aware. That's part of the reason I've been getting into it again too. I just want to know what characters. Like they haven't given us an official list of the new characters they're going to be adding this time.
But not a lot. Like there's some cool. They have
I know they said. I think they said a cat from Yakuza's going to be in it from Sega.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just want to see who else they're going to add. But I mean, that's a day one pickup for me, regardless. Just I enjoy the gameplay mechanic. Like it's an interesting twist on RPG. I just wonder if they're going to actually take the story more serious in this one. I mean, it's a pretty long game, but it's just like the story. It's an RPG where I can almost say the story pretty much was their last thought. Like it was mainly the gameplay mechanics they wanted you to focus on. So the gameplay mechanics and the characters from already established IPs, which they figured would carry people through the game. So I don't know. We'll see. But that's about it.
Cool. Sounds good. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into the topics because we got a lot to cover today. Some of these will be brief, others will be a little bit more detailed. But let's go ahead and let's kick it off with one of the big news items that happened this week. Of course, Ubisoft revealed Assassin's Creed Syndicate, a game that was originally titled Victory, but Syndicate, because it would be ridiculous for them to title it Victory after what happened last year. So we all, of course, saw the trailer. Well, most of us saw the trailer. I'm curious. We found out that there is going to be a female and male protagonist in the game. That's an optional thing for the female character. But of course, there was some controversy behind the female character due to a couple of sites that wrote articles about this and questioned the nature of the character being in the game. So before we answer that question, for those of you that did see the trailer, what did you think of the game? Are you sold on this game, or you just think that it's time for this series to be retired? I'll let you go first, Gary, since you seem to be a hardcore Assassin's Creed fan. Every time you see a new Assassin's Creed get revealed, so let's hear what you think about what you saw.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite right now because last week, I said I'm done with Assassin's Creed, but when I saw that footage of Syndicate and I saw the London city and everything, like I can't lie, man, I got excited. So I'm gonna give Ubisoft one more chance with this one.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
Does anybody else have any thoughts on what they saw?
I haven't seen the footage of the game. I did read up on the stuff that they plan to have in it. Of course, I was waiting for them to get to a more modern time period. They're getting closer and closer, which is cool. But first off, it was kind of misleading because the first thing I saw was, hey, like some post was like, Assassin's Creed is finally modern. And I'm like, oh, sweet. And I click it, and it's 1800s. I was like, that's not quite modern, but they're getting there. But Assassin's Creed lost me a long time ago, and this didn't present anything that made me want to get back into the series. The last one I enjoyed was Black Flag, which was really, really good. My roommate bought Unity, and I watched him play it, and there was nothing that seemed appealing to me for that particular game, even beyond the bugs, which I would hope are fixed by now, but even then, nothing made me want to pick it up and play. And Syndicate, nothing makes me want to pick it up and play yet. So hopefully it'll come out, blow people out of the water, and they'll be nagging me until I go and get it, but I don't see that happening.
It's interesting because there's some neat little details that got revealed during their big, I guess, I don't know whether it was a stream or whatnot, where they showed off the trailer and they showed off some of the gameplay. It's taking a lot of nods from Batman because it's got a grapple hook now, which I thought was a little bit humorous. But also, one of the things they said is that they're focusing strictly now on single player, no multiplayer for this game, which I think is pretty good. It'll definitely, hopefully, up the quality for Syndicate. But at the same time, I feel like I've been burned out pretty badly now at this point with Assassin's Creed as a franchise. We just got Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. Black Flag really was, and Unity and Rogue were not that long ago, for the most part. And it kind of sucks because the concept, the idea behind Syndicate, taking place in London, dealing with the gang warfare, which I think is a really neat addition. It reminds me a little bit of some of the stuff. I think that I don't remember if it was in Black Flag or if it was in Part 3. That you were taking over specific territories, doing specific missions and stuff. That was very, very similar. Only this one, it has like Gangs of New York / type of like gang warfare type of motif to it, which I think is pretty cool because it adds in like now you're really interacting with the world. You're really interacting with all the people that are there. They're not just there just for background pieces or just for you to quickly hide from pursuers anymore. Now there's a lot more stuff to it, which I thought was neat.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let me go ahead and say this right now. Now, I do agree with a lot of what Charles said. Also agree with a lot of what you said, JJ. I personally am tired of Assassin's Creed. They lost me a long time ago. And the whole reason why I don't really care about this title is because, again, if you think about the storyline, you think about, going back to Ezio, and we had this discussion last week, Gary. where I said they were talking about the future and how the events would shape what would happen in the future. We still haven't seen what happens in the future as far as, the Assassins and the Templars. We haven't seen any of that yet, and to me, that's what I was waiting for because they talked about this very early on in the series. So the fact that, I understand they made the business decision to just keep doing these games in different time periods and making that be good enough. But to me, them doing that or milking the franchise, if you will, I guess that's interesting for some people, fans like that. I guess I'm one of the fans. No, I want to see them continue the storyline the way they need to continue it. And again, let's talk about what's happening in the future. Let's not talk about what's still happening in these different time periods because the story gets too convoluted. If you're counting from the first game all the way to these other games, you're going to be like, okay. And then Rogue wasn't a game that came out last year. I'm assuming that eventually that's going to come out on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 because that game was also connected to Black Flag and a few other games. So I don't know, man. I just think I wish him well, but I'm done with that series. Hey, there's too many other things I actually want to play. So to stay on that topic very briefly, of course, as I mentioned earlier, there were some articles that came out. The fact that they were using a female character. Now, I don't know, Michael A., you would have to basically tell us what they said that was so offensive and what got people angry, in particular, about the use of a female character. Because I know last time when they didn't have a female character, people was angry. But you tell us what they're saying now.
I mean, essentially, it's an idea that they didn't have a female character in Unity, even though they had one in the other game that came out around the same time. That was actually better and ran not in terms of just the gameplay, but in terms of functionality. Like it actually worked. It was just better than Unity, and you played as a Chinese assassin who was a woman. The game was badass actually, and I guess people forget that Assassin's Creed Liberation happened, but let's just ignore those facts. They were upset that Unity came out and none of the characters were playable women. So this game comes out and it's pretty much been confirmed that not even just confirmed, they announced it already, that the main character Jacob has a twin sister. I believe her name's Eve or Evil. I think it's Eve or something like that. And she will be playable. So it's not like she's just going to be there in the story and be important. She'll be important in the story and she'll be playable. And there are people who are upset because they're saying that this move is just a PR stunt by Ubisoft. They're just pandering, trying to exploit feminism. They're not actually doing it because they love doing it, which I don't know what the hell that even means when you think about it now. But yeah, that's the complaint people were having. I personally think it's silly because you can't really complain to someone that they're doing one thing wrong and then they do what you tell them to do and then you're complaining because the reason they're doing it is because you told them to do it. It's like, well, why bother? After a while, they're just going to stop listening to you, which I think they need to do, honestly, and to say, screw it, just make games. Because they have enough things they're trying to concentrate on. And clearly, if anyone's played Unity, yeah, they need to go back to square one and just make it simple. We need to make a game that works. Then we can deal with, all the other stuff. Because even what you were saying earlier, with the game breaching through different timelines in Assassin's Creed, different time periods, different characters, no, I don't know that they can do that because what they showed me last was they can't make a game that works. So simple. You just need to make that better. This new game needs to just take. I actually like the setting, from what I've seen of it, where it takes place in London. I like it. I like the atmosphere of the game. I want to see how. I need to know exactly when in the 1800s it takes place. I want to know if it's going to have anything to do with Jack the Ripper period or whatnot, and what other fictional and non-fictional characters we might run into. I think they announced one already. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but
Sherlock Holmes.
Did they?
No, I was just saying.
Thank you.
They announced some, but I don't think Sherlock Holmes. No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure no, because they'd have to drop some guap right now to use that. So that probably won't happen. But yeah, I'm just curious to see what they're going to do with it. And I hope they just focus, like for now, just focus just on that time period. Focus on that time period and perhaps tie that into a more modern Assassin's Creed. That's what I want them to do.
The only thing they announced in relation to it was something involving Darwin, like something the Darwin conspiracy.
Yes, that's what it was. Darwin. Yeah, I think they're announcing he's going to be. He'll be in the game much like Da Vinci was in 2 for a couple of the games in 2. So I mean, I think that's pretty cool. We'll see. Like I liked how the Order had Nikola Tesla heavily involved in the story. So I want to see if they do stuff like that. That'd be pretty cool. But honestly, they'd have to impress me. I need to see more. So I'm not going to write them off completely. I did say in the past that I was done with Assassin's Creed just because I don't like how they decided to make that game a lead franchise. I still, to this day, that decision is what killed this game. It started off amazing, and it had a story, and then they decided, let's just make it every year. I'm like, all right, well, no.
That and they also lost people who obviously cared about the story. Jade Raymond is no longer with the company. The other guy who worked on Assassin's Creed 2, they lost the core team that wanted to actually tell the story the correct way. So, yeah, it is what it is now. You have something you want to say, Charles?
Yeah, Mike kind of touched on it, but one of my biggest things with this particular issue or anything that's kind of like it is I hate that people take the stance that they're going to complain about something, and then when something is taken to directly respond to that complaint, it's considered a PR stunt. Because when you have those situations, if you're thinking of it from the business sense, like just from their perspective, first thing they're going to think is we can't win if we don't.
Exactly.
If we didn't have a female character for you to play, there'd be complaints. We've given you a female character to play. Now there are complaints. We see stuff like this now on a wider scale. Ever since that event that shall not be named, we see it on a larger scale now. Everybody wants to talk about these types of things, from comics to film.
Even Joss Whedon with Avengers.
Even Joss Whedon with Avengers. And another thing that bothers me, and creative freedom, creative license is the priority here. We want these guys to be creative and give us the stuff that they intend to make, because that's how we're going to get the best content, basically. Complaining about stuff left and right is only going to fix so much, or fix it on the surface level, basically. And like the Joss Whedon thing, people, took a dump on him because of a couple things, but they completely ignore his very strong catalog as far as women go. And I'm like, when you do that, I don't want to hear you anymore. Like, all these people, just putting them in a bunch. You have these complaints, but they're not even realistic solutions that you're putting up. Or rather, you don't have a solution, which is even more frustrating. You're just complaining for complaint's sake. And when you get something, it's like, oh, you're just trying to appease. Just shut up. And if you don't like it, just don't like it. Don't promote it. Just shut up about it. If you find something that you do like, or something that fits what you want in the market, like Assassin's Creed Liberation, then promote it, because that's something that I had not seen when that game came out. And that came out before all of this was a big deal, or a bigger deal. They completely ignore that. You could have promoted that. That's something that you want. If you, I had a comic book conversation with some people, and they were complaining about the steps that we're taking right now. And I'm like, if y'all don't support what we have now, whether it's a large amount or a small amount, that isn't going to bring more of that content. Like Assassin's Creed Liberation, right? Let's say all this stuff that recently happened didn't happen. So that comes out, a lot of people support it, a lot of people promote it. You probably will get more female characters or games similar to that on the mainstream level. But if you sit there and you whine and moan and you don't support it, why would they even want to make more stuff like that? Mm-hmm. Because they make it just so you can be like, oh, okay, thank you, or oh, well, you're just doing it to appease me, but you're not buying it either way. So it's frustrating. Clearly, you can tell that I'm frustrated about the whole thing. I can go on all day about it. I just hope, like Mike said, hopefully people will just start making stuff and ignoring these people. that's it. That's all you're going to be able to do at this point.
Here's the thing, and you definitely hit the nail on the head. It's just that a lot of people, you speak with your wallet, both good and bad. I mean, with Assassin's Creed Liberation, they even brought that to the PlayStation 3 in that collection, I believe it was. And even then, people still didn't buy it. You could even relate that to toys, because there actually was a big thing also with the toys for Avengers Age of Ultron, where Black Widow, in the movie, she rides that motorcycle. The toy companies changed it to Captain America, and everybody was up in arms about it. But at the same time, if you look at past history and stuff, a lot of people buy toys usually that are geared towards young boys and stuff like that, even though now that's starting to change. But they changed it because most of the time people are going to buy the Captain America doll, or they're going to buy different stuff like that. And it was that vocal minority that was constantly just nagging everybody about little things like that, or just doing the heinous and the nasty type of feedback towards people like Joss Whedon and a bunch of other companies. Look even at Mass Effect. I think even Mass Effect had something similar, even though there was a lot of other stuff involving the Day One DLC and such. The problem is that even though companies technically should avoid a lot of these people that are like really vocal and stuff like that, especially over reasons that aren't necessarily really supported that well, over stuff that really isn't kind of mute to the grand to the grand vision of stuff. The problem is though is that same vocal minority tend to be the ones that are not only the ones that are constantly going out there to make their opinions be heard, even though again it's a vocal minority and such. The problem is that the people that are actually supporting these companies, that are on board with them, that are kind of like sticking with them through the thick and the thin of all this nonsense and stuff, are usually just quiet. Usually like it's relatable to like a bigger website having an audience of people when an article is published up, and in the comments section there's a bunch of nasty stuff, or a bunch of people that are just not happy with stuff that's going on. But at the same time, you have just as many people that might have still seen the actual article in the post and just didn't leave a comment because either they were busy doing something else or just didn't feel like the actual time was wasted to leave a comment on there and still read the post. Like, again, it's a lose-lose situation no matter what when you actually get down to it. All you could really do, or all anybody could really do, is just encourage more people to just put their opinions out there, so just kind of drown out the people that are just the nasties. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to kind of bounce off of that, you speak with your wallet, of course, and also we speak with our clicks too. I think a lot of people need to start holding these bigger sites accountable, because they're using this stuff as clickbait. There's no way around it. You see how half-assed these articles are that are trying to, speak on these issues. Some not even taking a stance, but they know that headline is going to bring a lot of clicks, right? And of course, like you said, we're going to have all of these super vocal people, and the vocal people tend to be the negative ones, right? We got to get the indifferent people to start talking. And I understand that it can be frustrating to have to go from indifference and being completely annoyed with the bullshit to actually having to say something, because you feel like it's an uphill battle the whole time, which it is. But if you don't say anything, then we're going to have to keep dealing with this nonsense until something absolutely drastic happens or something, or just wait it out until these people fizzle out, which it doesn't seem like that's going to be happening anytime soon either. But it's frustrating. It's dumb. These bigger websites are on a whole lot of BS, cashing in on these particular issues and not adding anything constructive to the conversation whatsoever. If anything, they're hindering it more so than helping.
Agreed. Does anybody have any final words on this topic?
Yeah, I mean, all these people that are ruining our comics and our games, they just need to take a step away from the internet, in my opinion. Like, they're on the internet way too much. That's the conclusion I've come to, because, like, they actually don't, they don't read the comics, they don't play the games, they just want to complain about something, or, I call them fake feminists, because I don't really believe these people are feminists. I think, they just want to be social justice warriors. Like, that's what it is. They just want to have their say and their input, and, if they actually manage to change something, then they probably feel some kind of fulfillment from it. I don't know, but it really annoys me.
Yeah, they're basically activists just on a face value, because at the deep levels, they're not doing anything constructive. Just like co-op I did with y'all a few weeks ago, where I think it was Damien or somebody that talked about how they want to support the video game developers directly, but they took a shit. They kept taking a shit on indie games, and I'm like, you're so focused on this perceived image of being all about the developer that you don't realize that you're shitting on them this whole time and actually hindering the process.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm all for creativity, and I believe that people who are creating these games and these creative works, they should be able to tell whatever kind of story they want with whatever characters they want, and they shouldn't have to cater to anybody else. I mean, either you buy it or you don't. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
I don't know. I just wish people would understand that it's really, really hard to create things. It's really hard to create a video game. It's really hard to create a comic book or a story or a film or anything like that. And this is coming from me. I'm critical of these things, but I'm critical of them in terms of production value. I'm not critical of them in terms of your creative direction. You should be able to create what you want to create. Like, even if I don't personally like it or it doesn't vibe with me, I'm not going to knock it because you're making something that doesn't vibe with me or I don't like. I'm just going to just not really bother with it. But you have that right to make it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and say that books like 50 Shades of Grey shouldn't have been written because I don't like them. That doesn't make any sense. They're just not made for people like me. And that's fine. You know what I mean? They have a place, they have a market, people clearly do like them. They made a film, people watch the film, people clearly like it. I just chose not to watch the film because I don't want to watch the film. But I'm not going to sit here and say that film shouldn't have been made, or even worse, sit here and demand that they change the film so that it's a film that I'd like, because I demand that the world be a world that everything in it is stuff that I like or is accessible to me. You can't do that. That's stifling on other people and just immature, honestly. Like, why bother doing that? If there's a game that you don't like, and it's not even, if there's a game you don't like, and first of all, I'm going to say this is probably going to get people angry. I don't really care. If there's a game you don't like because of the gender or race, or even, not even just race in terms of skin color, race in terms of the person's not human or not, if that bothers you about a game more than perhaps like the functionality and methodology of the game, then I can't help you. Like, I'm not really going to entertain that conversation with you. To me, it doesn't matter. A good game is a good game. I'm not saying that all good games have to be one way or another. What I'm saying is I respect game development enough to know that if you're making this game, I don't really... In most cases, a good game is so good, you put yourself into the main character anyway. So it doesn't really matter what they look like. Why does it, like, why care? Like, Master Chief is Caucasian. There are people who play Halo and don't know that. They, like today, like, they just don't know what race he is because they basically avoid the issue by always having him in his armor and never showing his face. You only know Master Chief is Caucasian if you've read the Halo books. That's the only way you're going to know. But that doesn't stop people from playing the game. And even after I found out, it wasn't like, oh, he's not black. I don't want to play this game anymore. It's bad. Like, no, it's still, like, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like what? It's still an amazing game. It wouldn't have mattered regardless. I didn't play Heavenly Sword and see that female on the cover and think, nah, this is gonna be hot garbage because that person doesn't have a penis. So I can't, like, what? That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So why is it an issue? Like, if it's not that important, and if people, like, I'll just say something this way. If you genuinely love something and you have the same love and passion for something that the other people do, why is it that everything you say about that thing is calls and demands for it to change to your beck and call? I don't get that. If you love comics, why is it that everything you say about comics is the stuff that needs to change about comics because you don't like it? If that's all that's coming about your mouth about comics, newsflash, you don't like comics, and that's fine. But don't sit here and say you love them and you just wish they would change so that you can love them more. Then you don't love them. That's not the thing. I acknowledge that there's things about gaming I don't like, but you don't see me sitting here saying that gaming needs to change to basically my benefit or to what I like, because that's silly. It'd be wiser for me to just play the games I like. I don't know. I say all this stuff, it's not going to matter. There'll be an article up on one of these sites by Monday saying how
Uh-oh.
so and so needs to is some political or whatever. It's tiring. I honestly, maybe it's because I'm starting to get old. I might actually be starting to get old and just want to have a news day in gaming where we just talk about video games. And when I say talk about video games, I don't mean video games connected to something else. I mean video games like, oh, this game has this new gameplay mechanic. Oh, this game's story was fun. Or what level are you in this game? Or which is like even the silly stuff like which is the best shooter? Like those dumb arguments that I look back that I used to think were stupid back in the day. I miss those because they were more thought-provoking and entertaining than the stuff that we have now, which is this game isn't left-leaning enough. Like what? Why does that matter? I don't care. Like the politics and all that shouldn't matter. Is the game good? Is it bad? Why is it bad? That's the discussion. But I guess those times are gone, man.
Does Cap want to get in and say something right quick?
I mean, I ain't really got much to say, but you know, I agree with him. You know, as far as like, yeah, you know, I love those days when we talked about the content of the game and not necessarily the politically correctness of it or, you know, getting into just silly stuff like Gamergate. You know, like damn, they turned gaming into this whole political. I'm like, yo, what is this? Like, what happened to the N64, you know, GoldenEye days, man? Like having fun. Now it's like, damn, you make a game, you gotta be worried it's gonna show up.
Yeah, you gotta hit that
MSNBC segment. Yeah, it's crazy.
Now, one thing I'll point out, we can talk about this more either in like an after dark debate or after the show, but like just to clarify, my opinion, this is just from everything that I've seen. In these situations, like what happened with Ubisoft, actual feminists are not the problem. Gary actually pointed out it's the people that want to be social justice warriors, because I follow a lot of actual feminists, and at this point I probably consider myself to be one. They are actually on the other side of things and want these types of people like Sarkeesian and stuff to shut up because they're giving them a bad rep with all the bullshit that they've been spouting this whole time. But that's a topic for a whole nother day.
I think it's relevant. We have a lot of people who just want to be stars. You know what I mean? And
yes, exactly.
This is their platform that they want to be. You know, a name that shall not be mentioned. You know, from this own site, you know, kind of rode that wave a little bit. You know what I mean?
So you guys talking about Voldemort from like Harry Potter? I'm confused.
Oh, no. This is why this had to be saved for another conversation. But yeah.
Like,
we could be here for like 5 hours on that. Just alone.
Yeah, no. You make a valid point. I'm not going to disagree with that.
I'm looking forward to after dark debate. We gotta have one. I'm with you.
I might actually want to join on this one. This one's good. Let me get the popcorn.
Hey man, you're gonna ruin my.
Man, Jake, you ain't about that after dark life, man. You know that.
Oh, you have never seen me in after dark.
That's my point, man. You a cop now, man. You about the light, man. We the dark to the evil people like me. You know?
Man, one of these days, whenever you come down to Florida by some God-given reason and stuff, I'll show you the nightlife here in the convention.
You God-given right, because Florida ain't the place for him. He black.
Yeah, nope. I'm good on that. No, sir.
Not true at all.
Not going to Jeb Bush country.
Be all right.
I like living. So.
You'll be all right. Hey, so let's move on to the next topic. We spent a lot of time on this topic. We got a couple other things to discuss, but we got to get back into the games. We talked about some serious stuff there. That was good. So hopefully those who enjoyed it, leave a comment, tell us your thoughts on the subject. But next topic, to another company that I say that they're doing it in good shape, I guess. Nintendo. They announced that they're going to have a World Championship tournament, I guess, at E3 this year. Also, it was announced that Square Enix, you know, they were originally going to have their conference around the same time of Nintendo's Direct, but then they decided to delay that by an hour, I guess, so that Nintendo can have all the attention on them. So, Mr. Jake James Lugo, feel free to tell us about this, because I have to tell you, I don't keep up with Nintendo because they don't ever show me any respect or love. So, the floor is yours.
Okay, so basically, before I even get into that, regards to the Square Enix thing, I think it was a smart move for them, because having them both at the same time, people were going to have a problem choosing which one to kind of dive into, and I think a lot of people were going to end up probably choosing Nintendo, you know, for various different reasons, and a lot of stuff, was going to get lost in translation there for Square Enix, with the exception of maybe a few announcements. I'm really guessing that they're probably going to have a lot of big Kingdom Hearts related stuff, since apparently it's confirmed Final Fantasy 15 is not really going to be a focus for them this year at E3. But getting back over to Nintendo World Championships making a comeback is a big deal because it's a little bit much more of a traditional thing that has a lot of resonance with people that have been in gaming for a long time. At the same time, it also allows Nintendo to have a bigger presence than what they've had at E3 for the last couple of years outside of the digital event. And I noticed this. I think this is going to be the beginning of a trend now, because first, if you notice, Nintendo's Nintendo World Championships was announced as part of their plans for E3. Then shortly afterwards, Microsoft announced FanFest, which is again going to be going on throughout the whole week of E3. I would not be surprised if down the line, maybe not this year, but next year, Sony does something similar for next year's E3, where they have something going on throughout the whole week. Like it's something to not only kind of extend their kind of not their dominance, but their presence in the midst of everything that's being going on for E3. Now, Nintendo World Championships is significant because it has a big name again for people that have been in the game industry for a long time. Keep in mind, NES Remix has been out for a while, and they're maintaining the tradition in pretty much the same way that Nintendo World Championships was held back in the 1980s or the early 90s. They're doing the same thing now this year for E3 during, I believe it's Sunday, that the actual Nintendo World Championships is going on, in the midst of all this other stuff, which I think is kind of funny. But it allows people to kind of, practice. Again, it's relevant for people. They could get access to Nintendo World Championships, quote unquote, by buying the NES Remix Collection or the Ultimate NES Remix Collection on 3DS. Now, one of the things that I haven't really kind of looked into so much is what are going to be like the prizes and stuff that Nintendo's going to do over the course of that competition, as well as any other stuff that maybe Nintendo might actually kind of throw in there to kind of entice people to come check this out next year, because I don't really think, besides the digital event that they're going to have, obviously, that they're just going to hold the championships and not have something extra for people that actually pay attention to it before E3 starts up with them. Because there's got to be some sort of significance there. There's got to be some other pull. Because for the majority, from my understanding, a lot of modern gamers, or new gamers, quote unquote, don't really know what the Nintendo World Championships are. So, like, they hear that and it's like, okay, why should I even care? So maybe I bet Nintendo drops an announcement of a game being made to come out next year. Something like that, some other announcement, that's something that's in development to entice people. Because also keep in mind too, if any of you have seen The Wizard, okay, The Wizard is the movie. It's a little bit kind of like a gaming movie that promoted gaming stuff. That was the first appearance of Super Mario Brothers 3 at the time, which also happened to be promoted in Universal. That has a history of actually doing stuff that, again, kind of gets more people involved in it, and is actually kind of like not Nintendo's mic drop, but like their chance to kind of reveal something extra for them. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens this year for the Nintendo World Championships. But I'm excited about it. It's interesting. It's different. Again, I'm excited to actually hear more about it. Let's hope something good comes out of it.
I'd like to make a quick statement, and then I will let anyone else say what they want to say. Perhaps the championships will be good for Nintendo, but all I care about is they better be dropping some major announcements at this Direct, because, as I said, Star Fox is a game that I am 100% expecting them to say is coming out this holiday season. Listen, we cannot ignore the fact that Zelda is delayed until next year, so they better be announcing a lot of stuff.
And not at E3. Keep in mind, they're not having that or any really real solid details about Zelda Wii U at E3 this year. They already said it.
Yeah. Well, I know that, but that's what I'm saying. They have to talk about stuff that is dropping this year that people can look forward to at the beginning of next year, because, yeah, I mean, that's all that really matters at this point. Because last year, I mean, we had a couple of surprises. Splatoon, which now that I've seen more footage of it, okay, I say that looked like that's a pretty fun game. Captain Toad, that game also looked like it was fun. These were games we didn't know was going to get announced until they got announced. So I'm expecting to see a couple of surprises as well, not just the Star Fox, but a couple of other things. But that's really all I care about. The Nintendo Championship is good. That's great. But listen, for those that are gamers, they're going to be caring about what am I going to be playing this holiday season. At least that's what I would think they're going to care about more so than anything else. Does anybody have any other comments to make about Nintendo Championships?
It's hard to talk about this without getting into everything. I mean, everything else E3. To be honest with you, I think this should have came before the E3 discussion. But
Oh yeah,
you know, everybody's gonna go see Nintendo, man, over Square. I think it's an easy thing, man. I would never go to a Square Enix conference over a Nintendo one. That's just it. That's whatever.
oh man, why not? Square Enix, they dropping bombs. They're gonna
Yeah, I
tell
mean,
people.
Square Enix actually dropped games though.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Name all the bombs Square Enix is dropping. Because
Okay,
I
yeah,
mean, it's
they
been
dropping
really silent
remasters.
over here. Yeah, they're dropping remasters. They're dropping bombs that already exploded. But
yeah,
I
let me
mean,
explain. Let me explain. You're going to go to the conference. They're going to talk about yes. So Kingdom Hearts 3. This is one of the best looking games we have coming to the platform in 2020. You know damn well that game ain't coming out this year. That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
Here's the other problem too, though, with Square Enix's conference. Most of their games, with the exception of Kingdom Hearts, and probably again, if it was really going to have a presence there, Final Fantasy 15, or even any of their other Final Fantasy related games, the other games like Deus Ex, Tomb Raider, and stuff, we're going to get pretty much presentations or pretty much showings of them at the other press conferences. You're going to see Tomb Raider at Microsoft's press conference.
Well,
I'm pretty sure
you're
you're going to see Deus Ex at the Sony press conference as well. You know, most of the other stuff that they put out that are big parts of the other consoles, we're going to see in those other places. So I would hope, at least for their case, to have some sort of relevance for their press conference, that they focus less on that stuff and give us much more details about the things that aren't really kind of like going to be put so in our face at first from the other guys.
The other thing with that though is I don't even think the Deus Ex is dropping this year. That'll be out next year because I think that this year we all know Fallout 4 is going to get announced, and that is the chances of that coming out. I highly expect that to come out this fall. So I don't really know what Square is going to drop this fall besides Tomb Raider. I could be wrong. That's my guess. And you know what, Anthony, you was 100% correct. We probably should just talk about E3 now since we already don't started this conversation. But yeah, what else was you guys going to say first about this topic?
I was just gonna say that personally. I think why Nintendo is doing this because if I remember correctly, last year didn't they have a Smash Brothers tournament during E3 as well?
Yes, I was there.
Yeah, and that did exceptionally well for them. Like that, the views on that were off the charts, and everyone was talking about it. Like a lot of Nintendo fans are really excited about it. So perhaps that's the motivation behind this. Like people at Nintendo saying, okay, if we support the competitive side of our fan base, you know, we'll gain positive press for it. We'll look more forward thinking, which is true.
Agreed.
But I do agree with what you're saying, though. They do need to come out with some games. I like that Nintendo is doing we'll do our Nintendo Direct thing during E3. That makes sense because that's where the Nintendo fans are going to be focusing anyway. Nintendo fans aren't going to be really focusing on E3 because they don't care about E3, honestly. So.
That director is very smart because I recall last year we were sitting down at Denny's eating breakfast watching.
I remember that. Yep. I remember just watching it on the phone.
Yeah, I remember no one having a bad thing to say, and I shouldn't say that. Sorry, no one who actually plays video games having a bad thing to say about that direct because that shit was a fire ass mixtape. Okay, they came out with bars.
Keep this also in mind. Nintendo's Direct is the only place you're going to hear about news in one spot that isn't going to appear in the other spots throughout E3. That's one of the things I think it's kind of working in their favor. And again, having the championships is going to give them an even bigger presence during the time outside of just E3 on the showroom floor.
But I mean, I'm just going to say this: if you told me 5 years ago that Nintendo, out of the big three, would be the company that would link a competitive tournament to their E3 presence, I'd have laughed in your face. Nintendo? Microsoft isn't doing this? This is like a huge missed opportunity for them. Sony would never do this. So what the? I just think it's funny.
Sony don't have the games to do it.
Please. No, I'm saying like Microsoft. No, Microsoft is already involved in competitive gaming. Like they've had Battlefield tournaments, they've had Call of Duty tournaments, they've had Halo tournaments. Like they're doing this. It's
like having an event outside of just E3 because remember, FanFest is happening that Sunday, I believe it is, for Microsoft for the Xbox FanFest. So I'm saying
a competitive thing like a tournament.
Like
with,
just a
like,
tournament. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like a competitive tournament linked to their E3 conference. If you told me 5 years ago that Nintendo would be the first company to do this, I'd have laughed at you. Because to my knowledge, for a long time, they didn't really care at all about the competitive scene. So it's like, what happened where they're the first ones doing it?
Yo,
And
Mike,
Microsoft and Sony are just kind of sitting on their hands. Like,
you know what Nintendo really needs, though, to capitalize off this? They need a mobile game.
A mobile, you said?
Yeah.
They're gonna get mobile stuff.
You know what? No, because now I'm about to be angry.
Wait,
I guarantee you, it's
Wait,
gonna be Nintendo mobile.
Wait a second. You said mobile. You know what that means, right,
Not
Gary?
mobile. Not mobile. MOBA. MOBA.
MOBA. Yeah.
Oh,
like,
MOBA. Okay,
like
no,
Smite, League of Legends, stuff like that. Yeah. And I know what's funny. I swear to God, they're gonna announce a Nintendo mobile because that's just gonna make money for them. And with the tablet, it'd be pretty easy. So why not?
Yeah, they got
and people will buy it because it's
They got
Nintendo.
the perfect controller for it, man.
They already confirmed. They already confirmed that they will be dropping the first mobile game with DNA later this year. So yeah. That's going to get announced.
And that's going to be a big deal. Watch.
I definitely want to get more into talking about E3 stuff. Before we do that, let's finish off these last other two topics real quick. Now, bridging the gap from MOBA, mobile. Let's talk about what Konami said this week. That was absolutely ridiculous.
They're gonna hate me. They probably hate me already.
Because you wrote an article about this, and you could talk about this. But let's talk about Konami's decision to now say that they're going to shift into mobile. That is the future of gaming.
Yep.
So, who wants to go first?
I'll go first because I probably have the least stake in all this. You die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, right? That's what the saying says. And I mean, that's what's happening here. I'm not gonna lie. I found it funny because when all these other companies were doing that, nobody cared. When Sega made this decision, I was annoyed because I'm like, "What are you doing? You have great games that we still want to play on console. They're not selling. They're not selling because people aren't buying them. They're not selling because you're not making them, and you're shoving Sonic Boom down our throats. Don't shift to console or don't shift to PC and mainly mobile because Sonic Boom dropped and it failed. That doesn't make any damn sense, and nobody said anything then. But I mean, more of these companies are literally looking at mobile games as the future, not just because people are playing games on mobile platform, but because it's extremely easy to monetize mobile games. It's extremely easy to make money off them. When you see the things they nickel and dime people for they're really cheap. And people that don't think about, 25 cents for this, $1 for this, sure. That counts to a lot of money. Konami's looking at that and saying, we want some of that money too. So why are we sitting here putting 10 years development into Metal Gear Solid, and then the fanboys are still nitpicking the game and finding something to complain about, when we could churn out a game in 6 months and just be in the black? We need to go to the mobile platform. I find it funny personally. And they're not going to be the last company that say that. I'm telling you, you're going to see more and more companies doing that. Especially with this indie boom. Yeah, I didn't know Square Enix was doing it, so shit, that's pretty huge too. Actually.
They have a Final Fantasy game that's strictly just for mobile called Meritus Final Fantasy. But to piggyback off your points and stuff, here's the thing: a lot of the stuff and a lot of the outrage, especially at Konami, is all Fallout stuff from Kojima and Silent Hills. Now, the thing is, a lot of different posts. As I was writing up the article that we have on the Koalition, which you could check out now, is basically like giving a summary of a lot of the stuff that's happened with some opinion stuff. But basically, a lot of the stuff that's going on and the statement that the CEO came out about how they're going to focus really heavily on mobile gaming and such, I really think that was kind of been planned out for a long time, because a lot of people are complaining that it's so radical now, especially after everything that's happened up to this point. I feel like that's been planned for a while, but right now Konami is on everybody's shit list so bad with a lot of the decisions that they've been making, and I think rightfully so for a lot of different reasons. But more specifically, this is like a total PR disaster, because the CEO coming out and making this statement, knowing after everything that's happened at this point, really shows that as far as the impression that Konami and the image that Konami is giving to the gaming market, to the gaming consumer and stuff, they're really not caring about it as much as what they should, and what they have had, the way that they've cared about it in the past. Because Konami makes a lot of money, you know, in other avenues outside of just gaming and such. They have fitness clubs, they have all these other products, pachinko machines, which is a big deal for them now because in Japan there's a bill that's going to be passed soon to legalize gambling in Japan, which is going to make them even more money down the line. But with this, though, I think that now you're going to start seeing a lot more of the frequency with a lot of their big gaming franchises, which is going to piss people off a lot more. You're going to see a lot more frequency with Metal Gear. You're going to see the stuff with Contra, like the pachinko machine stuff. That there was a video floating around with a Contra slot machine, and some people were even saying recently they started seeing them pop up in Las Vegas, like at airports and stuff, which I find funny. But you're going to start seeing that a lot more often now, and you're going to see the image and the impression that people have on Konami start to dwindle down even further, which is only just going to make them look even more sillier and such. But I think it's really going to come to a crawl and really come to a climax after Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain comes out. That's what I think, like, a lot. We're going to see a lot more details come out about the stuff happening with Kojima and Silent Hills, you know, aside from what's already come out now. But also you're going to start seeing a lot more stuff popping up about what Konami is doing in other avenues outside of gaming. And mobile gaming specifically is going to be a big deal that a lot of people are going to complain about, if they aren't already.
But I have a quick comment to make, then I can get to others who want to say something. All I would like to say about this is that, yeah, I know that mobile gaming is big over in Japan. I know that Nintendo has had, well, DNA has had a ton of success over there. That's probably who they are looking at and saying, well, we need to be more aggressive with this market. I'm pretty sure Konami had some success over there, too. I mean, I don't know all their financials as far as...
To give you an idea, sorry to interrupt, but to give you an idea, they make billions of, not billions, but like millions of dollars on their fitness clubs, on their fitness products and stuff, spas, also pachinko machines and gambling machines, like various versions of them and such, and then they have their gaming division.
Okay, so they can make some money, but me personally, hey, after Metal Gear Solid 5 drops, I personally don't care whatever the hell they do, because I know it won't be that much time left before it's a wrap. If they want to plan, you know, I don't think that they should have let this come out now about going mobile. This should have waited until later, but that's just my opinion. I mean, all I care about at the most part is Metal Gear. I don't really care about what happens to them beyond this, because they obviously don't care about the fans. They mess up Castlevania, and then on top of that, you also mess up this Silent Hills thing. So whatever happens to them, I don't care after this. Who else had something to say? Charles?
In short, with this whole statement, whoever made the statement, mobile games are not the future. It is your future, because y'all didn't know how to keep your house straight.
He's right. He's definitely right. Hey, Konami's the only company. Jim Sterling put it the best. Konami is the only company that can have Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro, Norman Reedus, and the backing of everybody in the gaming industry, and still manage to fuck it up.
Yeah, like, y'all really, Konami, for real, y'all really think that y'all are gonna be the first ones to recognize that mobile gaming is the future? No.
But I mean, okay, I can't believe I'm defending Konami. It's not like I'm some big Konami
wait, before
fan.
he defends Konami, let me jump on the bashing train. All right, so.
Oh my lord, goddamn!
Before you defend, 'cause we got to keep it in order. We got to destroy, then we got to rebuild. All right. So,
okay, go ahead. We got 5%ers in the chat. Go ahead.
All right, cool. Listen, man, Zynga thought mobile gaming was the future too, but didn't Don Matrick just get fired because he couldn't do what he was brought on to do? Look, it's hard even for mobile game companies, actual mobile game companies, to even figure this thing out. It's a hit business. Mobile games are a hit business. You ain't got a hit, that's it. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing that I would like to add, is saying that it's not as easy as they make it out to be, and they're gonna lose a lot of money until they find a hit. So
yeah, and it's easy to say because y'all just got two-pieced in a biscuit out of the AAA market on the big consoles. Y'all got knocked out, so they're like, oh, well, mobile's the future, so we was heading that way anyway. Nah, y'all got to go that way now. And I'm interested to see if they can capitalize on that, because, I mean, they're gonna have to create some new franchises. I can't see like Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill becoming like the prominent mobile titles or something like that. I know they already have those attached to pachinko machines already, but I like Metal Gear Solid. This is me just guessing. This is my analysis on it. After Metal Gear Solid 5 and the fact that Kojima's not involved anymore, the following for that here or there in Japan is going to falter off significantly. In whatever platform they decide to implement it, is going to be done for. That's why I hope they lose it. I hope they lose the rights or give the rights up and let Kojima pick it up and do something.
They'll hold on to that until the company dies. And the thing is, I think Konami at this point, from their behavior, they're stubborn enough to want to put like Metal Gear Solid water out, or Metal Gear Solid pachinko machines, etc. You know what I mean? Like, they'll run a lot of their franchises to the ground, like what they did with Castlevania, pretty much at this point, to the ground before anything else. Like, it shows the mark of a company that isn't focused and isn't stable in its thinking. Like, because look at what happened with Super Bunny Hop. Like, I know a lot of people tried to dismiss that when I wrote about it. The stuff that happened with Super Bunny Hop clearly shows that the company isn't focused on important issues. They're more concerned about a guy making a video that has speculative evidence about what happened with Kojima and only made it worse and more public because they clearly tried to game YouTube system, to which YouTube, for the first time ever, literally came out and told them, hey, yeah, guys, we're concerned, quote unquote, that your copyright claim is invalid. Like, that's a pretty bad sign about a company of like what they're focusing on now, or like what their big deal is. Like, that's pretty bad for them.
And just a side thing, the Castlevania series, like Lords of the Shadow or whatever, those two games weren't bad games. They just should have been original IPs. They shouldn't have tried to float with the Castlevania tag on them, because the Castlevania influence was very light on those games.
All three of those games are terrible. Even Mirror of Fate. Mirror of Fate was horrible.
I have nothing to. Wow, that's a lot of hate coming from Florida right there. What I'll say is this: you guys built them up. I don't mean you guys personally. I mean, like, even the people listening. You guys built up Konami. You guys are the ones that love Metal Gear Solid and think it's the Jesus of gaming and all of this jazz. That's on you guys. That's not on Konami. So when they start acting stupid, when they start acting like they cannot do wrong, it's because for a long time they really couldn't in the eyes of most gamers. And the only reason we're even talking about this now is because Kojima's not there. If Kojima was still there, all of these mishaps nobody would care about because Kojima was there. That's the thing. That. It's almost like idolatry worship. And because they lost their idol, now y'all want to tear the kingdom down. Like,
here's the problem, though.
I don't get it.
Mike, here's the problem, though. Kojima, his relevance transcends Konami, because wherever he goes and whatever he does next, he'll be just fine. The only reason you're right, the only reason why anybody cared about Konami was because of Kojima being there making Metal Gear. Because that was
I'm not going to go that far. Because, I mean, let's be honest, like, you guys are forgetting how much, in terms of, like, being a known personality, because he's a singular person and he's known, I agree with you. Yeah, but the money and the backing behind him, like, he's not just going to be able to just say, oh, I'm Hideo Kojima, pay me. It's not that simple anymore. I
don't know, but the Castlevania developer just did that.
And what happened with that?
He got $2 million when he only asked for $500,000 on Kickstarter.
No, and I understand. Okay, what I'm saying is, I'm trying to think of an example of another big name person leaving their company. Okay, what's his name? Okay, yeah, with Mighty Number 9, but I mean, that's just one game. Like, it's not like this company, he has his back and it's on the same level as a Capcom, and Capcom's struggling. And I'm sorry, they're still doing better off than Inafune is right now in terms of just the value of the company that he started. I forgot what his name.
I kind of get what you're saying, but I think the key is they all left sinking ships, and they were able to get that following off of the franchises that they have, because Capcom, like you said, sinking ship. Konami, sinking ship. They were able to go and get out of that before it got too bad.
Is Konami really a sinking ship?
They are right now.
That bad boy capsizing whale right now, like literally.
I'm not going to say that they're going bankrupt because...
Yeah, because I'm like, with the game like Metal 5 or Gear 5 on the way out, and we know everybody on PlayStation buying that. Let's just keep it 100, right?
Yeah, it's
so
gonna happen.
because it's got Metal Gear in the title, so it's getting bought, good or bad.
Right.
That's money for them. They're fine.
You got like, as far as a business, your longevity is key, and what you can do in the future. Their potential as going forward as a company is looking mad cloudy right now, because their Metal Gear Solid 5 is gonna happen, right?
Okay.
Don't get that. We don't know if they're gonna try to even make another Metal Gear Solid after that point. And if they do, it'll probably be a mobile game. Silent Hill, before this situation, was another lantern post after Metal Gear Solid. It was like, bam, we cashing in on that, because what's happened so far, the people that are backing it, Guillermo, Norman Reedus, and Kojima, that's another lantern post. That's another piece that we can build on while all of our other stuff happens. They don't have that anymore.
But didn't they shut that down because instead of actually going to them and saying, I want to make a Silent Hill game, he basically said, fuck it, we're making a Silent Hill game, and Konami was like, we are? When did this happen?
That's not what happened.
We don't know what happened, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm asking, because if that's what happened, then I could understand why they shut that down.
Know so far, like what happened basically was that all of them were on board, and the reason why Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus were on board was for the opportunity to work with Kojima. When all this happened, because it all happened at the same time and such, when people asked Norman Reedus' publicist and Guillermo del Toro's people about it, they didn't make any comment about it. And then later on, when Guillermo del Toro was asked about it, he came out and opened up a little bit, because Konami decided that they didn't want it to happen. Everybody else was on board and they were in. Konami just pulled the plug for practically reasons unknown.
But that's what I'm saying. What if the reason for that is because they weren't involved in the decision to even conceptualize the project? Kojima just said, we're doing this. And Konami's like, oh, what money? You know, what money? Because I don't know where this money's coming from. Do you have your own money that you're going to? We don't know. But we don't know what's going on. You haven't talked to us yet.
So obviously Konami was on board.
Whoa.
And if they did, if that was an issue, like, how could you, as a company, how can you sit there and be like, okay, we don't want you to do this? And then he's like, well, I believe in this, I want to do it. And he goes get two huge names. The reception from the public is amazing. The game is getting downloaded like crazy. Shit, look at now. They're selling PS3s with just a demo on it. How could you, from a company's perspective, look at that and be like,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I disagree with what you're saying. What I'm saying is, I can't think of any company, first or third party, where any person, I don't care how big you are, can walk in and say, we're making this game, and you've talked to no one there. You just decided the game is going to be made. And you just decided how company... I'm not even 100% sure that's what happened either. I'm saying if that is what happened, I understand why they're like, no, you're not just going to make a new Silent Hill game without discussing this with us.
To be a bit of a devil's advocate on this, even against myself, one thing that I could see as a possibility for happening with Silent Hill, we all know that Metal Gear Solid 5 had an astronomical budget to make, and we know that Kojima goes in with some pretty lofty goals for games and stuff. Considering that, you know, the first thing we find out is Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus are involved, he may have had astronomical budget goals for Silent Hill, so they couldn't afford to do that at that point. That may be a realistic thing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take that a step further. With Metal Gear, yeah, you can pretty much guarantee you'll see that revenue returned.
Silent Hill does not.
Is Silent Hill as big enough a franchise that you can guarantee you're going to see that return? I don't think that it is. Yeah, especially because of what genre it is. It's a niche genre. The horror genre, that's a niche genre. A lot of people don't play horror games.
Then why not sell it to a Microsoft or Sony as an exclusive?
You don't want to. That's a good point. Now, let's look at half of what you just said. Imagine a world if at this E3 Microsoft said Silent Hill exclusive on the Xbox One. You think that would have been good news for Konami?
Wait. You would have had some idiots talking because they don't understand the business.
But those idiots allowed. Those idiots send death threats. You know, those idiots write articles.
Hey, but look, those idiots ain't got nothing to do with the fact that Tomb Raider is going to be exclusive and it's coming out, Bayonetta 2 wouldn't have existed. Street Fighter 5 may have been hindered in its process. Like, these business decisions have to be made. And no matter what your outward perception is, if you're not willing to look into the research and find out why this is happening, just be quiet.
Yeah, I think long as they were open, about why it's exclusive, as far as like, yo, this wouldn't even exist if we didn't have Sony as a partner.
Yeah,
or
couldn't
we
afford
didn't have Microsoft as a partner, then I think there shouldn't be an issue.
Because Square Enix was kind of open about, their whole situation with Tomb Raider. Like, they really can't afford to take any risk.
But here's the other problem with going exclusive. You then cut off potential sales. Like, if Silent Hill came out and it was exclusive to, or just one of those two consoles, it wouldn't sell as well because there just wouldn't be as many people that could buy the game. But and that budget is already huge. So, like, if I'm Microsoft, especially if I'm Microsoft, and they come to me looking at me to make this game, to buy this game exclusively, I would just think in my mind, why? What am I getting out of it? Sony too. Sony wouldn't gain a lot out of it.
Would probably be the more likely choice, but I think we should probably say this for the After the Dark debate because there's a lot that can be.
I agree with Sony being a choice for that, definitely.
I agree. They got more consoles out there.
Well, not even that. Just the Silent Hill history.
That too. Yeah.
All right. So, we real quick. We want to talk about the reactions from the NPD numbers for those that don't know, and we have to talk about because here's the thing: there are certain people that come to this site. They expect me to get all excited, giddy. Let me start jumping up, saying Microsoft, because they won. So I want to talk about this real quickly because some people are just expecting me to be a fanboy and say, "Oh yeah, this changes everything." It changes absolutely nothing. This was 1 month to look forward to. Okay, that's good for Microsoft, but I'm gonna say more about it. But first, let's give you guys thoughts. Why don't you go first?
Yo, who's going first?
I mean, Gary could go first. I was gonna jump in, but
okay, no, you can go after Gary. But go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. At the top of the year, I was letting everybody know that this is gonna be Microsoft's year. And at some point, we're going to see a change in the tide, and you're going to see Microsoft start to win these months on NPD, and this goes to show that it's going to happen, man. And I feel like because April, they didn't even really release much that month. So what?
Yeah, what the hell did Microsoft release in April? I'm dumbfounded.
Wait a minute, they released.
They were all like digital titles, weren't they?
State of Decay.
Yeah, State of Decay. Neverwinter came out, I believe, officially. That might be it. I can't think of anything else right now.
Yeah, so my point is, people are looking at the future right now, and in the future, Microsoft, they have more titles, more exclusive titles, planned right now that are coming out this year even, and they have Halo coming up. So, Sony, what have they showed? What has Sony showed?
They've actually put games out this year is what they've shown.
Yeah, one good game.
Really, Charles? Can we not just...
Wait, hold on.
I just realized he put on a mask. I was like, what the hell?
Hey,
I gotta be a villain. I'm gonna be seen as a villain.
Let me drop my 2 cents before y'all get into it. I know it's about to get crazy. Listen, I sorta agree with Swift, and then I sorta disagree. Like, the disagree isn't a big one. The disagree is more so like, I don't know if this is the changing of the tide. I mean, they outsold them by like 13,000, I think, so that the gap isn't that wide enough to say, yo, this is like the changing of the tide. But I do agree with Gary this in the sense where, Microsoft, all they have to do is just put out good titles and just stay consistent with this, with the Xbox, and then people will start fighting. And I think that's what's happening with them. It's just, I think they just have to not compete with Sony. That's real talk. And I think as long as they just stay in their lane, they'll be alright. That's it. Y'all can go at it.
I got something I would like to say too. As I said before, giving Gary the floor. The console sold. Okay, so big deal. That's good. That's good for Microsoft, right? It's good. Both consoles are selling. Obviously, PlayStation has a lead. They will continue to have a lead. Because again, I see some of the comments that were left on the last co-op and the several ones before that, with the certain individuals that think Halo 5 is going to close the gap. That's interesting. One game is going to close the gap, and they're
wait. When they say close the gap, do they mean close it like it'll be even, or close it like it'll start to turn to change?
They think it's going to be even.
And they think it's going to be even.
No, that's not going to happen. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
There's no one game that could do that.
Let me tell you why that's not going to happen. You give Microsoft credit for selling, while it's very questionable why they were top selling in this past month. Again, here's two facts that people forget. Neither Microsoft nor Sony gave their numbers. You heard that they said they were top selling. I didn't see any numbers that said how much was sold, unless, of course, that information is floating around out there and I just missed it. Okay, number two. Yes, that was good. This is good for Microsoft or whatever. They had a good month. Why they will not catch up? Well, it just so happens that there is a Arkham Knight PS4 console that's coming out in June. There's also a Metal Gear Solid PS4 console coming out later this year. You think people won't buy those consoles? Nah.
I think those consoles are way overhyped, man.
Well,
yeah, buddy. Yeah, Gary.
What the hell is going on right now? What is this?
Transformations. So, okay, I said what I had to say. Now you guys can go ahead and talk now.
All right.
Let Charles go, yeah?
Yeah,
all
Charles.
Right. All right. So I put the mask on because I feel like I'm going to be treated as the villain in this because Microsoft, is kind of they've built themselves into an underground or the underdog rather in this whole situation now. So certain people in our comment section bring all this different heat every week. Never mind it's the same shit every single time. But all this DirectX stuff, right? Changing the landscape of all this stuff. Gary comes at me with all these games, even though most of their games, Microsoft got you gassed up because y'all eating on this holiday season for 12 months. Y'all eating off 3 months of games.
Wait, it's been 12 months since the holiday season?
No, you missed what I'm saying. They're arguing the whole year about 3 months, as opposed to the whole year of games that they have. That's what I'm saying, right? So and then these are games that I have to repeat this every time. They're in their 4th, 5th, 6th forms. These are games that people buy Xboxes for because they know those games are coming, and they already know that they're going to buy them. Those games aren't going to be system sellers in the holiday season. You're going to have a few things bump up. I feel like Microsoft is going to win in November, December, and January. Most likely they are going to win those months. But just winning those months is not going to catch you up to what Sony has. Though Sony does not have as many exclusives. If you break down the numbers flat out, indie or not, they don't have as many exclusives. Sony is capitalizing off third-party partnerships that they can benefit off us because these third parties are looking at them like, hey, they have more consoles out, therefore more copies of our game are going to sell on this console. Don't act like this is a new thing. Microsoft did it last time, and it was successful. Okay? So don't like the whole Halo's going to close the gap. Get the fuck out of here with that dumb shit, because that's not going to happen.
I don't think it's just going to be Halo, though. It's going to be everything that Microsoft has. Like, you got to look at the future right now, and Microsoft obviously has the better lineup.
I can't take these motherfuckers serious, bro.
Until E3.
You can give me Halo.
Until we see something from Sony at E3, Microsoft, if you look at it on paper, they have the better games.
Can I drop a mega?
Let me just
Just one thing.
Go ahead.
Let me drop this bomb on you real quick. All of these things that you keep saying that you don't see from Sony, yet they keep outselling Microsoft every month, except for this one where they got 13,000 more. So you say that you want to see...
This isn't the first month. Wait, hold on. I'm going to interrupt you. This is not the first month Xbox is outsold Sony.
No, I know. We count the holiday season going into January. What? November.
Yeah, they did it then too.
Right. But outselling a console every 3 months or so, every few months and a handful, that's not going to catch you up. The point that I'm making is Sony wins more often, and they don't have anything. So when they do have something, what's going to happen then?
And
Oh no, that's a valid point.
Sooner or later, all those people who bought PS4s are going to realize they bought into nothing because, like, what does Sony have?
Y'all been saying that. Y'all been saying that for 6 months.
All right, I'm going to jump in. Number one, Gary, you look like an extra from that movie Attack the Block, right? Let's talk about that real quick. 2, let's keep it honest. This isn't a fair comparison because you're dismissing that there are, and I agree with what you're saying in the whole, in the large portion that, I mean, I honestly don't care. I want both consoles to sell, but large portion, you're correct. Like Sony is outselling them, so we can't pretend that that's not happening, and that this 1 month means it's the turn of the tide. Like no, that's stupid. So I agree with you on that. But to say that winning the holiday season isn't enough when the vast majority of sales for the gaming year happened during that portion of the year, Microsoft winning that is kind of big for them. Because if you think back, when Sony started gaining momentum in 2008 and started moving forward, and this is a point that, what's his name, Riku even brought up before, when I was talking with him, and he brought it up, I think, on the Throwdown or whatnot. That's pretty much when things started turning around for them. They started winning holiday seasons. They started, because those exclusives, all those PlayStation 3 exclusives that you guys hold near and dear, started coming out during the holiday season. So people started buying PS3s more. I'm not saying that this is happening for Xbox yet. I'm not going to say that. I don't know the future. I'm not Miss Cleo. What I'm saying is that for the years to come, Microsoft consistently has more exclusives than them. And those exclusives consistently come out during holiday seasons. You will see the gap start to shrink. I'm not saying they're going to catch up because Sony's doing phenomenal right now. More power to them. But I'm saying if they keep having huge exclusives during holiday season, that's going to make things a lot closer than it is right now.
All right, first, I already said that the holiday season was like a key and that they're probably going to win it. I agree with you there. I also said that they're not going to catch up this season, which that's an acininine thing.
You're right. Like we agree on that. Yeah, we agree 100%.
I'm not going to say that.
I don't.
People out there
Let it be known. Hated is not sitting here saying this holiday season it's Xbox. No, that's stupid. And I don't know why people are saying that. No.
And also something else that I've said. I said that because people like to take their little criteria. Now, this is not a jab at you, Gary. You'll know who this is about. They take their criteria and they make it. They narrow it down so it'll fit their little agenda or whatever. I agree that maybe 3, 4, 5 years from now, Xbox is going to take over Sony in the United States.
I wouldn't even go that far.
It's going to be closer. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be
it'll be closer, but I don't think Sony's going to be struggling in America ever. They're doing too well right now.
I'm not saying that they're going to struggle. No. I just think that Microsoft is going to step their game up, and maybe their PR team is going to get up off their ass and actually put some of these partnerships on the spotlight so they can get these consoles sold.
Okay.
But these things aren't going to happen for another 3 to 4 years, so I'm tired of having the conversation of Microsoft is going to catch up. Slowly, every 13,500, 1,000 consoles, they'll catch up eventually. It's just going to be a long time. And y'all need to talk about these games that y'all don't want to talk about, like the indie stuff, that's going to actually enhance these sales for this console.
Okay.
The indie stuff is great. I'm not excusing the indie stuff at all. I mean, it's the system sellers. Microsoft has more of them right now planned. But I'll go ahead, Rich.
Listen, these are some great, fascinating topics, but we might as well transition this over into E3. You guys have already said that, and Charles made the statement that, maybe about 3 or so years, Microsoft will catch up. Hey, listen, while I will say that can happen, let me just say this real quick. A lot of stuff was said about the holiday season, which meaning that Microsoft, they will sell well, but you have to remember something. Okay, right as soon as the spring starts next year, 2 games we already know dropping on PlayStation 4, Uncharted 4 and Street Fighter 5. Now,
That's great.
Uncharted is a console seller. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna say something real quick. Not to interrupt you. Your point is true, Rich. I'm talking about we got this extra from 300 over here, clapping in the background like he's in the Church of Sony right now. Charles, what is going on? What is going on over there? Is this real?
I'm excited to have this discussion because I can only be on the show every 2 weeks, so I got to bring the heat. I got to bring the energy.
They gotta.
Oh my God! But anyway, no. But yeah, sorry, Rich. You were making a good point. Continue.
Oh no. So I just wanted to say that people have to remember this stuff. So even if for some miraculous reason Microsoft is able to sell a lot, this is why I said them trying to catch up. I don't think that's going to happen because it all depends. But let's talk about E3 now because apparently there's a lot of stuff that could happen. I don't know how you guys want to do this, but I basically wanted to pose the question of what we think will happen at E3 for each, whether there are certain games you want announced or what do you think is going to happen. Now, I know that Anthony has something he wanted to say, and he couldn't say it earlier because it would have jumped into the E3 conversation. So, Anthony, if you are around now, you can go first.
Yeah, I'm around. I just wanted to say that, I got faith in Microsoft, man, because if you look at a lot of the E3 messaging, like we just started to get their E3 messaging like last week.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at it, it's basically saying this, we're gonna show you the best Xbox lineup in Xbox history. Period. They feel really confident about what they got to show. Like they're not really out there, bragging. They're not going crazy. They just feel really confident that this is the best lineup in Xbox history. And I feel like we're gonna get 2015 titles, and I think that they can't catch up to Sony, but I think that this year I think they're gonna solidify that they had the best game console in 2015. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Facts. I mean, we already know they're going to focus on nothing but exclusives this year. And, Sony, I just don't know how much they can have, in the chamber right now because
you don't want them to.
I wanted to. I brought a PS4 because, I was expecting Sony to give us... They had a great PS3 run. Like, they were putting out great exclusives. But what do they have now? I mean, they need to create new IPs, of course, and, we know we're getting one from Guerrilla Games, which I'm really looking forward to. But besides that, I mean, what do we have to look forward to?
Right now, create new IPs, is that a criteria we setting right now? Because y'all caped up off of games that we already have on Microsoft's side of things. These aren't original IPs. Like
Sunset Overdrive?
And how well was that promoted? That was one game.
Yeah, but it was one more game than Sony had last fall.
No. Original IPs. Now, hold up. We going original IPs now.
Gary, I'm very disappointed. You did not mention Until Dawn. We all know that's going to be
that trash. I played that game like twice before already, and it's trash. Like,
God,
you should be looking forward to that game.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know anything about the game, so I haven't played it. I don't have an opinion.
That's a leftover. It's a leftover PlayStation Move game.
Just like Rise was leftover. I was just about to say that actually. Just like Rise transitioned from being Connect into being a full game, that's what I see Until Dawn as. So I'm not particularly excited for that.
But Rise, it seemed like more of a complete game than Until Dawn.
It ain't even out yet. Calm down.
Also, playing devil's advocate, Rise was a launch title. I give games more leeway at launch because they're launch titles. This is 2 years in now.
Let me throw in something too, and I do agree that was a launch title, just like Dead Rising 3 is a launch title. But there's a problem with these games. They don't stay on only Xbox One. They're both on PC. They can be played by PC gamers around the world today. Add D4 to that list as well. And this is something where I like I said, Sony, when they drop an exclusive, it stays on that platform. You will not see Bloodborne on PC. You will never see Uncharted 4 on PC. So to me, that's pretty much of a big deal.
And those are the two games I bought the console for. What next?
Well, hey.
That sounds like a personal problem. I just want to say.
Plus, I mean, is that honestly a good thing? Considering, hell, one of the biggest exclusives they have now will be on PC. Street Fighter V is going to be on PC.
Yes, it will. But I
So
never
I
had.
mean, and I honestly think that's probably the smartest move Sony's made, because the FGC would have revolted if it was just on one console. You have to have a way for people who don't have PlayStations to play that game. And B, that's just more sales for you. Now, I mean, Street Fighter is third party, so they don't really benefit from those PC sales. But and I'm not saying Sony should. Hey, I'm not in your pocket, Sony. Do what you want. But if Sony did put a game like Uncharted on PC, that would be nothing but money for them. They're kind of missing out on money. That's on them.
Just to piggyback off what he's saying, this is the reason why I know Microsoft is going to announce an NFL licensed Joe Montana football game that will be crossplay between PC and Microsoft.
That could happen.
I've read a little bit about it.
Yeah, I heard.
Man, if they do, that'd be the biggest waste of money for Microsoft. And let's be honest, that game will not outsell Madden. It won't. I'm not saying it won't be better than Madden. So what?
No.
I don't think it's supposed to outsell Madden, but I think it's gonna do what it has to do for Windows 10. Like,
do you think it'll make enough money that it'll actually be profitable? Is what I was going at.
Oh yeah. A lot of people want alternatives to Madden.
Yeah, a lot of people have other consoles though. So if that's an exclusive thing, like
exactly,
how limiting would that be?
That's limiting. Like,
I don't think it's to basically be like, yo, let's overtake Madden. I think it's just something to have in their arsenal, and then something to help promote Windows 10 as a gaming platform.
Gotcha.
Well, JJ, you had something to say, so I'm gonna let you say your thoughts on E3.
Well, if we're going to talk E3 in general, I think that Microsoft has nowhere to go but up. I think that with a lot of what's going on with Aaron Greenberg over there and such, I think they have a lot of big, ambitious plans, especially because keep in mind, some of the exclusive and stuff that they've been teasing for a while, specifically Battletoads, as well as like any other like projects they got going on over there, I think are going to be pretty impactful, like during their press conference and such. I think that, Sony may have obviously a lot of the good things of which we've known for a while. I also think that probably a lot of the studios for Sony that have been quiet for a very, very long time is going to be the time for them to reveal their games, specifically Guerrilla, like what Gary was saying, because they've been at it for a long time with that open world game that's been rumored for a while. So I fully expect things like that to happen, and we're obviously going to get pretty much typically what we've been expecting for a while from Nintendo. I think that a lot of the surprises, and I say surprises with quotations, are going to come from the third-party press conferences that are going on, like between Bethesda and Square Enix. Bethesda, pretty much at this point, it's all been but confirmed officially that Fallout 4 is going to be a thing, as well as also we're going to get probably some stuff from Doom 4. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen as well. Mm-hmm. But also, with Square Enix, I think besides Kingdom Hearts 3, which I think is going to be a huge deal and reason why they came out so openly and talked about Final Fantasy 15 not really being part of their show as much, I really think we're going to get that Dissidia fighting game that's in the arcades in Japan. Since it's being built on PlayStation 4 hardware, I think we're going to get an official confirmation and possibly a new trailer for that game shown. And that's a big deal, especially for that audience like that, because for a while that's been asked to come to consoles. So I think those are where really the surprises are going to be from. I think it's really going to be stuff, just reconfirmations on things that have been talked about for a while from the big three. We'll get stuff, the same thing from EA and Ubisoft as well. Again, with like Star Wars Battlefront from EA's DICE, as well as also the Visceral game, which apparently is a rumored Han Solo game that Amy Hennig from Uncharted fame is working on, which sounds pretty cool. And as well as also Mass Effect. Again, a lot of the stuff from all those companies are going to be just reconfirmations of stuff that we had, but the third parties, I think, are the ones that are going to have the surprises.
Okay, let me respond to that very quickly. The EA conference will be a making of games, because we already know that they're probably not going to show anything that's near completion except for the Star Wars Battlefront game.
Yeah, that was already confirmed to show gameplay in there.
We'll see that. We'll see Madden. That's probably the only two that I know for sure. We'll see other stuff, FIFA 16 or whatever. All the games you expect to see. So EA should be maybe okay. Ubisoft, they have an IP that they're going to talk about that they haven't talked about yet. I don't know what that is. I highly doubt it's Watch Dogs 2. I think that is next year. because it's too soon to talk about that. But I'll be interested to see what it is. No, I do not think it is Beyond Good and Evil 2. I have to stop you there, Charles, because I know you was going to probably say, yeah, probably that. No, I don't know if it's going to be that. So we'll see. And as for, Sony and Microsoft, well, Microsoft, it's going to be a very interesting show, but everything they say is not going to be first party because Tomb Raider is not. That is a game that's a third party game. So obviously that'll be an exception because it's a holiday game, provided it actually comes out this holiday, which I don't know. So we'll see. But what I want to ask, go ahead.
I was gonna say it definitely is coming out this holiday. Like they're going too hard on the promotion.
Yeah.
Like it's too hard. Like it's part of their like E3 promotions talking about 2015 games now. Like that, Fable Legends and Halo is a sure shot for this year.
Okay. Oh, well, hey, that's great. Fable Legends, yeah, free to play. It's all good. So.
No, that game's gonna be horrible, but I'll just mention that.
Oh no, it is gonna be horrible. I have to say that it's gonna be horrible. It's nothing like the original Fable, but hey, some people may enjoy it.
Man, that game gonna be fire.
You think so?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what game gonna be fire?
Yeah, when you say fire, as in it needs to be thrown into a furnace, right?
Talking about Fable Legends.
Yeah. So a quick question for you guys.
I can't hate on it, so I don't know.
A real quick question for you guys. So, which conferences do you think? Who do you think is going to have the better conference of the third?
Oh, here we go.
And of course Microsoft and Sony.
Yo,
Round one.
I think Microsoft is going to have the best conference because, like JJ said, they have nowhere to go but up at this point. Like they've been beaten to death so far. So I think they feel really confident about their lineup. About their Xbox lineup, but also I just wanted to say something about the Guerrilla Games. I think that shit's gonna be ass. Like I think this is gonna be another Destiny type game, but I could be wrong. But we'll see. I know Charles gonna get at me, but
Charles, you can go ahead. He had a reaction immediately. Go ahead, Charles.
Is Charles going next? Charles, you going next?
I mean,
I can wait.
It was a damn digital bully, man.
Okay, carry on.
I mean, besides that, I think Sony definitely ain't gonna be nothing to sneeze at. I think even if they show like Last Guardian, it's still gonna be a heavy megaton. Definitely Sony is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, the fact that we don't know much about what Sony has is a good thing too, because that means that we're just gonna get surprised just as much. So,
okay. Real quick before I move on to the next person. Now, since you said which one you think is going to be the better conference, who do you think is going to have the worst conference of the third parties?
Also, PC is now one of those four.
There you go. Yeah, PC is one of those four. So
I mean, the worst. I think the worst is definitely gonna go to like Ubisoft or some shit like that. Man. Like they conferences.
Oh my god.
They always got some awkward. The games ain't that bad, but they always got something awkward going on.
Yeah, I can see that. So, who wants to go next, Charles or Gary?
I can wait.
All right, go ahead, Gary.
Yeah. So as far as who's going to have the best, I think it's either going to be. I'm actually going to pick a third-party company. I'm going to go Bethesda because if they show Fallout 4 and it's incredible and they shout out the show with that, that is going to send shockwaves through the internet because people have been waiting for that game for years now. So I think they could steal the show with just that. But also I think they've got enough great content as well to just pull off a great conference overall. I would like to say Square Enix, but I don't think so. I think they'll have a great set. They'll have a great showing with Deus Ex. The new Deus Ex games. I can't remember the name. Mankind Divided or something like that. But yeah, and also they'll probably show some Japanese stuff too, like Star Ocean and all that stuff. But I think that conference is only going to appeal to those who are into those games specifically. I don't think it's going to have worldwide appeal and mainstream appeal like that.
Yeah.
As far as the first party companies, I'm definitely going Microsoft because Sony, you know, I really want them to show us some great stuff, and I want them to be like, this game is coming out this fall, this game is coming out next year. But you know, just Sony right now, it seems like they're playing catch up with themselves. Like they're scrambling to, you know, create these exclusive games and put them out, but you know, it's just not coming fast enough. And you know, Microsoft is just, they're just ready to go. Like they got everything ready already. They got their plan laid out. And you know, it seems like Sony are just kind of playing catch up with themselves. I mean, they're selling, you know, because they had the better message at the times the console launched and everything. They capitalized off of, you know, Microsoft's mistakes. But you know, how long can they you know, hold that torch? How long are they gonna, you know, keep up with the illusion?
Okay.
I guess we're gonna see. But
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
that's it.
Okay, so sounds good. How about you, go Charles? You're muted. There you
Do
go.
other people have stuff they want to say? Because I can go last.
Okay, how about you go, Michael A or JJ, whichever one wants to go first.
Oh no, I'm going last. Let Charles go. Let me get his.
Whoa.
Let me get that X.
Okay,
Yeah, let
all
the
right.
Xbox hate come out last. We don't want that last. You know, I'll go last. I'll
No,
be the voice of reason.
no. It's never been Xbox hate. It's been Sony defense.
Yeah,
That's what it's been.
I think Charles should go last because you know he's the only one that's siding with the people that are most likely to lose. So.
You don't even know my choice though. You don't even know.
Oh. Okay,
You know
okay.
what? Let me go now. I'm gonna just go
Let him go now.
Oh my God.
Okay, so as far as who's going to have the best show, now what I feel is going to be the best is going to be Nintendo actually because of the quality of games and the exclusives that they're going to have. I think they're going to have heavier hitters on the larger scale that are exclusive at their show. I think they're going to have a more consistent showing of those. Well, not their show, but whatever little thing that they do now, like their little presentation. I think that they'll have better titles. Some of these other shows are going to be more exciting. Microsoft and Sony are going to be more exciting than Nintendo's, but I feel they'll have a better roster of games shown. Now, Microsoft, like y'all said, they have nowhere to go but up at this point. I think that they have plenty to show. Will they show it the right way? We hope so, because they need to. There are a lot of games that I cape up for that they have exclusive, whether it's timed or not, that they need to have on that stage. And because there's a lot of jaded Microsoft fans that don't acknowledge these games that aren't Forza, Halo, or Gears that need to see these games because that's going to help. Well, it's already a diversified ecosystem. They just need to recognize that and embrace these exclusive games. Now, Sony, I don't fucking know. I said last year that I think that they learned their lesson about announcing games that ain't gonna come out for a long ass time. So I'm hoping that they're continuing that, and they've been quiet for a reason, and they're gonna drop some fucking bombs. But we don't know what Sony is gonna have. My hope is that they're gonna bring absolute ridiculous flames throughout the whole show. And then when everything's done, as the smoke clears, you just see Last Guardian release date. Don't even show me gameplay. Just show the fucking release date. If you show me gameplay and there's no release date, that's an automatic fucking loss. No, fuck that. We didn't see enough gameplay from them. We need release.
We saw dated gameplay from 10 years ago.
See, you hating, and you don't even understand what I'm saying. You just jump at the opportunity to hate. Got your hood up and everything. Just it's pure hate mode.
Carry on.
F gameplay for Last Guardian. We know what the game is going to be like. Give me a release date or shut up. Because if they show gameplay and no release date, that's an automatic loss. Because we're going to be sitting here talking about this at the next E3. They showed some more current gameplay at this last one, but there was no release date and we still don't have the game. I'm tired of waiting. Just give us a release date, and don't let Square Enix get a little extra slot to come up there and give us Final Fantasy VII Classic again either.
Yeah.
But I feel Nintendo is going to have the better roster of games. I feel Sony could drop some serious bombs. Microsoft is going to be most consistent. Ubisoft, probably the worst by far. I'm with Anthony on that one. I'm pretty sure that they're going to have the worst, and that's even considering that I have a strong distaste for EA at this point. But EA has Battlefront to show off, which will. I'm a big Star Wars fan, so and I think they are in a position. EA is in a position where they need to shut up a lot of critics of that Battlefront game. So I'm hoping that they come with some heat for that too. But that's all I got to say.
All right, how about you, Mr. Jake James Lugo?
Well, I kind of agree with a lot of what's been said, amongst everybody and such. I think that as far as the most impactful conference this year, I think the most impactful ones are going to come from Bethesda, as well as also maybe a little bit from from EA. Specifically EA because of the Star Wars brand, because again, we know Battlefront is coming, but I think a lot of that pizzazz is going to come from Amy Hennig's Star Wars game, whatever that is, because apparently that a lot of the talk has been that game's going to get revealed during their press conference, but we don't know. But Bethesda, I think specifically because of Fallout 4, because everybody's been waiting on it, at this point they kind of set themselves up to the point where if that game isn't revealed during their press conference, there's going to be a riot in the audience. I really strongly feel. But at the same time, I look at the other big three. I think Nintendo's going to have a solid showing with a solid lineup of games that have been pretty much been expected for a while because they've been very open about what's not going to be there or what's not going to have any sort of like real presence at E3 this year. Again, specifically Zelda and such. And they pretty much have said other things. They even said during one of their trailers for the Nintendo World Championships and their digital event trailer about Mario Maker, as well as a couple other things where you could play it at Best Buy. So you're going to get other games like that have been confirmed for a while at them, so it'll be a solid lineup. Again, like I said, Microsoft has nowhere to go but up, and I think that with the way that Aaron Greenberg and Larry Herb and all those guys over there have really kind of been, and Phil Spencer too, have been really kind of coming off and have really kind of teased a lot of stuff and talked about a lot of different things like that. I think not only they're going to show a lot of stuff probably from Rare, specifically, especially with Yooka-Laylee, keep in mind their actual Kickstarter stuff is going to be ending around the time of E3, and I think that they're probably really, at least I would hope, they're probably really paying attention to the response that game has gotten on Kickstarter. So it would only make sense, business sense, at least that discussion about maybe bringing something to the limelight like Banjo-Kazooie, like Conker, or like any of the other Rare-related franchises that kind of get that kind of Me Too mentality, exactly, that Me Too mentality for them a little bit, to get some sort of relevance off of that. But I still think we're still going to see a solid showing of games from them as well. And same thing with Sony. Again, a lot of stuff from all the big three is stuff that we've probably known about for a while that's just going to get reconfirmed. Again, I mentioned Guerrilla earlier for Sony. Again, Uncharted, another big deal. As far as The Last Guardian is concerned, I really don't think that game is going to be shown again.
You shut your mouth. How dare you?
A couple reasons. There's a couple of reasons. Number one, if it does get shown this year at all, it'll be shown at TGS because Sony Japan Studio is obviously a Japanese studio, and that'll be the audience where they show that game to. And also, I think the way that The Last Guardian and the way that its development process has gone and all the stuff surrounding it, I think that game has changed in some sort of nature. Like, I would really think that it'd be interesting that if Sony came out at like TGS or even E3, arguably at this point, came out and talked about The Last Guardian and then revealed it or reintroduced it as something completely different, like called underneath a different name. I could definitely expect something like that happening. And the reason why I say that is because there's been so much stuff going on with that game. It's been such away from the limelight and for so long. And the trademark wasn't renewed, as far as I know. The last time I heard about it, that game would not be surprised me that game get reintroduced like that. But overall, I think it's going to be solid showing from all the press conferences. I think as far as the worst conference is probably going to be from Ubisoft because, again, outside of the Assassin's Creed stuff we've just heard, I feel like Ubisoft has kind of blew their load already. Like, I don't really have any sort of sensation of expectations from them on surprises or stuff that's really going to get the audience uppity, down during the, E3 week. Like, they haven't, obviously there's been no rumblings of another Far Cry, which I'm pretty sure they're going to do at some point. If not another spin-off, kind of like what they did with Blood Dragon. I mean, we're not hearing anything about Just Dance. Rainbow Six, we've already heard a bunch of stuff about at this point. And again, we already know what the deal is with Assassin's Creed. So what else could they really possibly, really show us at this point that will get our attention. Maybe another Rayman game. Maybe another Rayman game, but
The Division.
Or the Division. But even then, the Division we know a ton of stuff about, and they showed that last year. At the same point, like I'm talking about, like stuff that will really garner everybody's attention.
Yeah, but they haven't shown Division 1 with a controller in their hand yet.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like all this stuff they haven't shown.
Gameplay at this point already a couple times. But I'm talking about as far as impactfulness, which is what I really think is the real common theme for a lot of the companies holding press conferences this year. I think Ubisoft is going to have the weakest. Because I would normally say EA, but EA's got the Star Wars brand behind them with 2 games. And on top of that, Mass Effect.
Shouts to Black Rhino. He mentioned something. What if Ubisoft has Ghost Recon? What if they announce
that?
Who cares?
Honestly,
to me, I still don't think they have anything outside.
I understand why you guys are putting Ubisoft at the bottom, because in the years past, they've consistently had pretty much one of the worst conferences.
No, they've had good conferences. Last year's they were good. It's just this year I don't think they had.
I don't know.
To me, they never really were bad because of games. They were just bad because of presentation. But
I'm talking about the games where they would lead off with Rayman and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, no, you can miss me and all that.
Cause they made good money doing that. They made good money making princess cooking and all that stuff. But
I mean, they made the money from it. But in terms of like exciting conferences to watch,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, nah, like Ubisoft is making money. We know that. I'm just saying in terms of, but I don't know.
Like, I wanted to drop this question.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, how awkward would it be if Rare dropped a Banjo-Kazooie, being that ukulele or whatever is coming out? How awkward would this be?
I would not be surprised. I think that's a conversation they've had. I'm pretty sure.
Actually, I want to make a real quick statement in response to that. Rare is going to show a new IP at the show. They have already confirmed this. And I believe that is the new game that Microsoft is going to show, because Microsoft said there's a new IP they're going to show for the first time. So
if it's Conquer, I'll buy a console the next week. I said I'm dead ass.
They already got Conquer.
No. I need a.
No, he's saying if they make a new Conquer game,
whatever that other game is.
But let me. But I know Gary we have to get ready to end this soon, and we'll probably continue it. But let me just say this real quick. As far as who I think is going to have the best conference, I'm going to have to say I agree 120% with JJ, Bethesda. Because Fallout 4, that game is a huge deal. It's a game we know it's coming now because of all the stuff that leaked out. If I have to pick from the other 3, I mean all 3 will have good showings. But in terms of the impact, I have to say Bethesda, because again, this is their first conference. Okay, make note of that. So it means they got something to say. That's a pretty big deal for them to make this their first conference. And as far as who is going to be the worst, I do think that Ubisoft is a candidate for that. They probably deserve it. But as far as what the new game they're working on, well, I think it's about time we get another Splinter Cell, don't you think? That's all I got to say for those.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So I think, Michael A., you were the last one to go, and I think that's...
Oh, yeah. For best show, if Sony does with this, they come out, I don't really care about anything else they're going to show, because they're not going to show anything that interests me. They come out and say, garbage, or yada, yada, yada. Release date for Last Guardian will show footage of TDS, best show at E3. I don't even have to watch the rest of E3. That's it. All I would have... That'd be it. I'm like, well, this E3 is complete. I don't really care about any of the other conferences. But if that doesn't happen, I'm gonna go ahead and throw a wild card here. I honestly think the PC conference is gonna be good. It's the first PC conference we're gonna have. And I keep telling people that consistently, the PC has amazing games. Just that you guys don't know about it because you don't play PC games. So this is gonna be a stage for you guys to see all the titles you're missing. Or all the titles you'll be playing in 3 years when they port them to console, and then you'll pretend like they're console games, like you usually do now. So I think PC is gonna really be a shocker. Worst show, honestly, for me, it'll probably be Bethesda, because what are they gonna show me other than Fallout?
Elder Scrolls?
Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder Scrolls Online, and
Hey,
no.
online is not the online is not what it's
the next Elder Scrolls. I ain't talking about online. I'm talking about the next.
Okay, because that's what I was gonna say. Because what I've played of that online, I mean, it's better than what people were telling me before, but no.
Yeah, they revamped it now. It actually looks really good now.
Keep that bad.
I was in the Xbox One beta for that. Like, it's better than what people were telling me, but that's not gonna make people buy Xboxes or PS4s or whatever. Like, that's not gonna be a system mover. So it's like, honestly, it's Fallout, and that's about it. Not that Fallout's not important, but I mean, I'm just in terms of like
one or two things, yeah.
Exactly. I'm thinking about in terms of the conferences where it's just going to be multiple titles of interest or excitement or intrigue. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking, EA, honestly, I don't see how EA can have a bad conference this year. They really can't. All the Star Wars geeks out there, I don't like Star Wars, so I don't really personally care. But Battlefront is a good game. I liked the Battlefront. Mass Effect, like Rich just said, maybe we'll actually see more than just concept artists drawing and whatnot, like last year. I mean, of course, all the sports games and whatnot, which people will scoff at seeing, but I mean, those are moneymakers for them. And I want to see if they're going to improve on Madden this year, because they will probably have competition again for the first time. So it's like, okay, EA, you got to actually get off your ass and do something. You know what I mean? That will be interesting to me. And I like FIFA, so I want to see FIFA 16. That's just me, though. What do I think about the other ones? I think, like I already said, honestly, for Sony, outside of Last Guardian, I really don't care about their conference. I just don't. I don't. Like, what are they going to show? Maybe if they show No Man's Sky, I'll watch. But that's
it's already
it.
Confirmed.
Oh, that's going to be there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, bet. Well, I'll be watching No Man's Sky then, because that game looks like it's going to be fire. Other than that, no. I'll probably just read the patch notes or something. Microsoft, I'm not sure what they're going to do. They're in a bad situation, because last year's E3, they announced a bunch of brand new IPs, and people didn't care. Like, they just flat out didn't care. They're like, so what? So it's like, that doesn't work. And then this year, if they come out and just show all the established IPs that they have coming exclusively, people aren't going to care because they already knew they were coming. They're in a lose-lose situation. There's really not a whole lot Microsoft can do, honestly, to appeal to people. But that's because Microsoft keeps making the mistake, and I've been saying this for 10 years. Microsoft keeps making the mistake of trying to make conferences and press releases and news to impress people that don't like them. You cannot impress these people. They don't like you. They're never going to buy your console. Like, Nintendo's realized this. I don't know why Microsoft can't. You should start appealing to your fans. Maybe there's people who haven't bought an Xbox One yet, but they're still Xbox fans, and they're just waiting for those games that, you know, they love or something to excite them. Or maybe they're just gamers who have all the platforms but don't have Xbox One yet because there's nothing they want. Appeal to those people. Don't try and convince people who have PS4s that they need to get Xbox Ones. Those people don't like you. They will never buy your console. You could cure cancer, they'll die of cancer. Like, I've said this before. So, like, stop appealing to them. Like, concentrate on your fan base. I hope Microsoft does that at this E3 conference, but from what I'm seeing, I don't think they're going to. So for them, it's just going to be another, all this work is done, but you have nothing to show for it thing. Whereas Nintendo's doing what they need to do, and I think they're going to have a stellar E3 period. So I'm looking forward to them. Sony's going to sell consoles regardless. They don't really give a fuck. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the PC. And maybe I might actually be excited for EA. I can't decide. Because I don't like Star Wars. I don't care. But Battlefront was fun back in the day. And I want to hope that it lives up to the expectations I have of the franchise from back in the day. I know what I've seen so far has kind of had me meh. But we'll see. Maybe it'll shock me. But you guys know how I am about E3 anyway. I literally go for E3 just for news. I don't look at E3 like it's a wrestling pay-per-view or some shit. Like, it's not that serious to me. I just want information. So that's what I said. Sony comes out, Last Guardian, here's the date. Footage at E3 at TGS, I will cry. I will stand up and clap, and that they win. That's all they have to do. Now, are they going to do that? That's the question. I know one
person that will have a heart attack if that happens while I'm at the audience.
You don't understand. Like, you guys, people will say I don't think I've ever, like, a lot of my friends have actually said this. I don't think I've genuinely seen Hated happy. That will make me happy. Like, you might actually.
What will make you happy?
Getting that date for Last Guardian. And like Charles said, I don't want to see footage.
You hear it now.
Oh my God! We saw gameplay footage already. We saw gameplay footage of Last
Don't you
Guardian.
feel like you need to see the footage though, because they basically had to remake
Nope.
the game for PS4?
You missing the
Nope.
point. Like, look, they can
I
walk on.
need a date.
They can walk on stage. They can open their show. Hey, my name's Charles Singletary. Last Guardian coming out in 3 months. Show over.
Yep. He didn't even have to, he wouldn't even have to take the time to walk off the stage. They could just fade to black after he says the numbers for the release date. And that would be the best conference of E3 for me. I wouldn't need anything else.
We got one more surprise.
That'd be it.
Just
Save the money.
Yo, man, that game's gonna be a flop. But yeah, that's it.
You know what, Gary? You shut your face. How about that?
Save ridiculous comments like that for later for another show. But
one more thing. Can I
go ahead?
I'll make it quick. Two questions. Well, not questions. 2 statements and a prediction. Also, just to piss Gary off on a prediction. Maybe Half-Life 3 will be at that PC conference.
Ooh.
We forget that EA does have Mass Effect, and they could redeem themselves with that. That's second. Now, the prediction thing. I'm going to just throw this out there. Sony's conference. Last Guardian is going to be announced release date, right?
Yes.
Now, Anthony brought up a thing where Guerrilla could have like a Destiny type game. So let's go with that and say that they announce a game of Destiny's type, but it's exclusive to Sony, right? In the holiday season, okay? They announce some other. Well, the Last Guardian's release date is in the holiday season, and then they announce a price drop for the PlayStation or the Slim version at a price drop to happen right before the holiday season, and then drop the mic on your ass and just stifle all of that little holiday hope that you got. I just wanted to say that.
It's not hope, man. I mean, my actual hope is that Sony shows us something. Like, that's my hope. I want them to show me.
I hope
more.
so too, because I don't like this Sith Lord Gary that's been hanging out here.
This is gonna sound awkward. Sony dropping the price of the PS4 now would be really bad for them.
I don't think that's
It wouldn't be the smartest thing, but it would help them in the holiday
because
season.
they don't have the games. It's like, oh, this system's cheap, and all these games are coming.
That's why I said that they would announce those games in the holidays, though.
Yeah, that's I said they would, if they were going to do a price drop for PS4, that shit would have to happen next year around when Uncharted's coming out. That's when you can drop the price of that.
Yeah,
and
if
you
they
can
don't
guarantee there won't be a PS4 on shelves. That's how you do it.
Yeah, true. If they don't put any games in the slots for this holiday season, though, the ones that have been vacated, like by Uncharted, then don't announce a price drop. But if y'all
honestly, after they push Uncharted back, I'm like, they should shit. Unless the Last Guardian is being announced, they should just cancel their E3 conference. What the fuck are they going to talk about?
I mean, they
that's the
did
thing.
it for
I feel like
Gamescom.
they got secrets.
They did it for
Man,
Gamescom. So.
We'll talk about
right? Exactly. A whole lot of dead ass air and shit. Like, I ain't got time for that.
So yeah, but I think that concludes this week's show. It's a bit longer, but we had a lot that we had to say this week, so it's all right. Anybody have any final shout-outs, final words they like to say? Go ahead, Gary.
I just want to say this was a great show. I enjoyed chopping up with all you guys, man. So shout-outs to everyone on the show. I had fun. Shout-outs to everyone who comments on the show every week. Other Zinc, Seth, Corey Dillon, all you guys, Fern Gully, everyone. You guys you interact with us every week, and I love that. So shout-outs to all you guys. And that's about it. Shout-outs to Joe Killer too. He's hilarious. He cracks me up on Twitter. So shout-outs to him.
Yeah, that's right. Shout-outs to him as well. Yeah, that's good for him. But you need to stop blowing my Twitter up, because I ain't responding to anything you say ever again, period. You're too annoying, Joe. Play your games. You got an opinion, go ahead. Talk to Gary, but do not put me in every tweet. You got something to say? Shout-outs, Michael A.?
Yeah, sure. Shout out to the Koalition people for having me on here, man. This was actually a fun podcast. This will be fun to listen to and whatnot. Shout out to Kat, who I haven't seen in a minute, man. Good to see you doing well. Shout outs to I didn't know people still did shout outs in 2015, so I'm struggling. Let me think. Let me think. If I made this mixtape, who would I be thinking? I'd like to thank the Lord. I'd like to thank my mom, I suppose. No, shout outs to Riku. Riku's what you call it from? He's on the Throwdown sometimes. He's a cool cat. All the dudes I hang out with on PSN, all the dudes I hang out on Xbox. I can't remember the name of the person who actually messaged me on PSN telling me to get back on co-op. I cannot remember that dude's name right now, but shouts to him. The people who give me the good and bad feedback that contact me, I appreciate it. So keep it coming. Like you know where to those people, you know where to contact me. So go ahead and contact me. I'll listen to you. Thanks for that. And I guess shout out to the comment section. I don't read you, but they do, and it provides for entertainment, I guess. So thanks for trolling them and doing your job. That's about it.
Okay, real quick, Jake James Lugo, any shout outs?
Well, I guess all I really want to say is just thank you to everybody that's tuning in and checking out all the content on the site. I mean, thank you for everyone also who's been coming out and checking out the streams we've been doing on Twitch. You know, it's really been helpful. We've been trying to get that really kind of put out there for a while, as well as all the podcasts and such that we put all over the place. And you guys allow us to keep doing what we love to do, and we keep bringing you guys some good content. So a big thank you to everybody. Thanks a whole lot.
Cool. Mr. Charles Singletary, shout outs.
Yep, kind of echoing the same thing. I do want to cover a few names that Gary didn't mention, like Phantom Vash, Michael, Mr. Acapella, which is one, I guess, kind of a newer guy that I've noticed commenting on things. Damien, I don't know if you mentioned him. Red Inferno. We appreciate all of you guys commenting. You know, it's always fun. Even though we do have that one troll that comes through with the same shit every week, I appreciate the insight from everyone. But like JJ said, you know, check out all these other podcasts that we have. We have a lot of great content. We have a lot of great people on the cast for all these different shows and stuff. And hit them, you know, hit those shows with some comments as well. Show them some love. Listen to them as much as you can. But you know, thank you for checking out the Koalition.com, and on my end, thank you Koalition.com for having me on here because I love it. This is great, and this is a great show.
All right, final word, Mr. Anthony Frazier. Any shout outs?
Yeah, just shout out to everybody on the cast today, and then shout out to all the listeners, all the commenters. Join the email list. Tell your friends to join the email list. Look out for the E3 coverage. I heard it's going to be dope. And, you know, and I wish everybody best of luck.
And once again, I'd like to also give a shout out of thanks to the fans. We always enjoy doing these shows for you guys. If any of you do have a look at this video and you would like to donate to us, just click on the icon, which is on the right-hand side of the video. Again, you do not have to do that. The show will always be free. This is only if you would like to. But we look forward to talking to you guys again next week. We'll talk more about E3, everything else leading up to the show. So thanks again for checking out the show.
One final thing I was going to ask. This is relevant to the E3 coverage you guys are going to be doing. Are you guys going to have like your own area where cats can chat about E3, what's going down or whatnot?
We're going to
like,
stream
like a hashtag?
I know we're going to stream from the show because, you know, not only in the press room, but also in our hotel, we're going to be doing some stuff like, you know, every single day give us like impressions of what we saw, or just like how much fun stuff is going on. So like every night you'll be able to have something, as well as all the other content that's going to go up on the site, the written stuff, the news from the home team, a whole bunch of stuff. There's a lot that we're doing. Like it's gonna be
because I was just going to say, if you guys were going to have something like that where you guys are going to be chatting with your fans about E3 coverage, like from the show floor during conferences and like post the day where you wrap stuff up, like let me know. I'll be there so the people who've been wanting to go at me, they can go at me during E3. So there it is.
Come check out the chat and then check out all the stuff that we post up. Like really, it's going to be the Twitch chat, which really again when we're back at the hotel, or again when some of us are in the press room, we just want to give impressions on like what we saw. Like if they announced Last Guardian at the Sony PlayStation conference, all of a sudden then we're all running back.
Oh man,
be like, oh my God.
Already.
Yeah, and nobody will react to that news. But yeah,
excuse me.
There's a lot of ways for you guys to get involved in all the content. Like there's a lot that we're gonna be doing. Like we got some big plans. It's gonna be fun.
All right.
Yeah. So
keep me posted on that. But yeah, that's what's up.
But you know, we'll talk more about that next time. We'll give people more details. We'll get everything all together. But again, that's it for this week's show. Hope everybody has a good one.
Can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
Yeah, to all the people that are watching us live, I see we got some viewers. You know, definitely check out our Twitch because we've been streaming pretty consistently. You know, JJ's been doing some stuff. I did some stuff. and right now David Jagnall's on there playing the Marvel game. So
Yeah, I was actually watching JJ play Splatoon the other day. You know what I mean? That shit was funny as hell though, cause JJ be talking like it's a million people in there.
Yo, you should have seen me on Destiny last night. That was hilarious. David was on the floor laughing the entire time he was telling me. Like, it was great. It was a lot of
What's
fun.
the official link for the Twitch? Is it the Koalition? It's
Koalition
Twitch.tv.
Koalition TV on Twitch.com.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure I give that a follow, because I might not be following you guys yet, which is a travesty. But yeah, I'm doing that right now.
Yes, so definitely check us out on those platforms, and we'll talk to you guys next week.